I never could live a lie. I said too much and let it get the best of me until it took the rest of me. I thought it was worth the fight, to fight for what's right, to right all the wrongs, to sing in our songs, to know we belong. No one understands, they don't have the desire, got the hands in the fire, and I do it again. We give it all we can, all we have is desire, got the hands in the fire, we burn ourselves and never say, never say, never say, never again. I never say, never say, never say, never again. I learned more from one enemy than from 1,000 friends. That heaven takes care of the fools and scoundrels in the end. You learn more from one lie than from 1,000 truths. It's all
Greetings, space travelers. Welcome home. You've just tuned your dial to Spaced Out Radio, the only place where you can own the night. I am your host, Mr. Rob G, and tonight we'll be broadcasting to you on our terrestrial affiliates across North America, also on digitally on TalkStream Live, KPNL, and Odyssey Radio. Remember, you can access our archives for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Please do that. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Twitter, Spaced Out at Spaced Out Radio Show. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where the options are endless. You can stay up to date with the SOR Newswire, get some official Spaced Out swag, plus rock out to some Bumblefoot and so much more. Yes. Welcome to the After Hours, right? Sunday. Let's get it in tonight. We had an awesome show last night, even though, we had to let R. Keith off a little early, unfortunately, and we'll have to have him back. But as you may or may not know, we had some epic breaking news that we covered yesterday on the After Hours. And, I think it moved the needle as far as the conversation goes. At least it got things going again. You know what I mean? So we had Jason Sands, whistleblower, who took part in a Twitter space hosted by Rob Wood. And we actually covered that here, so you can actually get the recap right here on Spaced Out Radio. Just hop in the archive, check out the After Hour show from yesterday. You'll get about an hour of good old R. Keith Andrews in the interview that we were conducting, followed by the Twitter space that we went ahead and covered. So awesome stuff, just a lot of stuff happening. Dave Scott came on earlier today, impromptu, and kind of, did a surprise show in the middle of the day. Wow, right? Who would have thought of it? And we're just continuing the conversation. As you know, as Dave and Courtney Marcassani has told you, this person was a source that they had been hinting towards and kind of, saying that there were things that would be coming out soon. And Mr. Sands took it upon himself to hop into Twitter space and kind of let the world know exactly what it was that he was involved in and what he experienced. So pretty awesome stuff. Can't wait to see where all this stuff goes. So excited for that. So excited as well for all the new people who were able to come across Spaced Out Radio and take part in what it is that we do. And let me let you know what we do here, actually, right? So this right here, what you're tuning into now, is the After Hours show. We run this show Saturday and Sunday, 8 p.m. Pacific until 11 p.m. Pacific. You got Right before me here on Sunday, we have the Cryptid Huntress. She just ended her show. That's 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Pacific. And you got Dave Scott, the conductor of the Woo Train, Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. Pacific until midnight. So 7 days a week, we have something going on here at Spaced Out Radio. So for sure, the moment that anything hits on any updates on this Jason Sands story, it's going to be covered right here. So we would appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button, notification bell, so you can be notified the next time we have an impromptu show or we get another breaking news update. So with that being said, definitely glad to have everybody here tonight. Can't wait to get into the show. It's going to be awesome. We're going to get into this. We have Lala Bright joining us tonight. Going to be fantastic. We have Travis Mustus, who should be definitely joining us in hour 3 tonight. So I anticipate an action-packed show. And, the fact that you guys are here to, kind of chime in and keep the chat alive really, really helps out and really makes us feel appreciated in what it is that we do here. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into the chat so we can see who came in first tonight. So I'm going to have to go back. We welcome everyone in, and I want to make sure that we point out the top 3 people who came in and hand out the medal awards. So according to the chat, it looks like we got our guy Mothman coming in with the gold saying la 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 la. And we got Race Fan coming in saying good evening, Rob. Good evening, Race Fan. Right back to you. We have, and you get the silver, obviously. And then we got Eternity Eternal coming in with that bronze saying hi, Rob G. With the silly face emoji. Love it, love it. Thanks for coming in. Eternity Eternal. We are going to have a great show. Let's see, who else do we have? We got Roger Murray in the building saying happy Passover. Thank you so much for coming on in, Roger Murray. Thanks for joining us tonight here at the After Hours. Who else do we have? We have Silent Listen saying it's been a wild 24 hours. Yeah, and it's just the beginning, right? If we really think about it, this all happened, this is less than 24 hours ago before we even tuned into the Twitter space. So, yeah, I mean, things are going to settle. The dust is going to settle around this. We haven't even gotten into the real media week, work week, which will start tomorrow. So it'll be really amazing to kind of see where the story goes from here. But wherever it goes, we'll be covering it here at Spaced Out Radio. So thank you so much for coming on in, Silent Listen. Who else do we have here? It looks like we got Jessica S. Yes, Jessica S. is in the building saying, yay, Lala Bright is in the house tonight. That is correct, Jessica S. Thank you so much for coming on in. We appreciate showing up here at Spaced Out Radio After Hours. Appreciate you. Who else do we have out here? Oh yeah. The man is in the audience here. None other than Science Bob. Science Bob is out there saying hello all. She's here. And yes, she is. She is in the back and will be joining us shortly. Thank you, Science Bob, for coming on in and supporting the show tonight. All right, let's go down the list here. Who else do we have? We got Carl Bittner. Carl Bittner stepped in the building saying, howdy there, Rob, Lala, and all you spacey after hour spaced out peeps. That's what I'm talking about, Carl Bittner. Thanks for coming on in. Thanks for showing your love, as you usually do. Going into the chat, we got Ginger Turtle 43 saying, what up, Rob, and everyone. Mucho positivity to you all. Right back at you. That's how you get a show started, right? Let's put that good energy in the air. And our guest tonight, and I'll say this right now, Lala Bright just sounds like a really, great, happy, joyful, positive energy sort of name. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. We're starting it off with positive energy, and that's why we're gonna have a fantastic show. You can bet that. Let's see. Who else do we got here? Let's see. We got Brown Dwarf. Brown Dwarf has stepped in the building saying, good evening. Good evening. Right back to you, Brown Dwarf. Thanks for coming in. We got Paula Faust saying, hello, everyone. Hello, right back to you, Paula Faust. Thanks for coming on in tonight and sharing your time with us. We appreciate you. Let's see. Who else do we got? Looks like we got Christine Lynn. Christine Lynn saying, hey, Rob and SOR. Hey, Christine Lynn. Thanks for coming on in. Appreciate you showing up. We got Melvin from Mars saying, hey, peeps. Hey, Melvin Mars. Thanks for coming on in tonight, after hours, Sunday. We're going to get you settled right, get you ready for your work week, because everyone here is going to have a fantastic week, spreading that positivity all around the world. That's how we do it. Who else do we got here? I know I saw her there. Yes, there she is. Laura Lobbs saying hello to everyone. Hello, Laura Lobbs. Right back to you. Appreciate you showing up here at the After Hours. Let's see. Okay, looks like we got Roger Blair saying howdy, everyone. Howdy, Roger Blair. Thanks for coming on in. Thanks for showing up tonight. We have Paranormal Pixie Laura. Thanks for coming on in saying, long metalhead intro. Yes, Bumblefoot coming through once again, rocking us on into the show. And yes, it just gets me going, right? Gets your blood pumping. And that's how we do it here, right? Let's keep the energy going. Let's keep everything moving. And who else do we have here? Looks like we got Deidre C. Thank you so much for Deidre for coming on in, saying hiya. Just popped through the awesome SOR portal. Appreciate you for doing that. Appreciate you for being in attendance. And yeah, we definitely just appreciate you. Let's see. Who else do we got here? Channel Warhorse. Channel Warhorse has stepped in the building saying hi. Yes, exciting, Rob G. Yes, it is. Exciting times. Exciting times it is. Thanks for coming in, Channel Warhorse. Let's see. Who else do we got looking in here? Cryptid Search. Saying hi, y'all. Hi, right back to you, Cryptid Search. Thanks for showing up here. We appreciate you. We appreciate you coming in tonight. Let's see. Who else do we got? Who else decided to come on in here? Looks like we got Matthew Gutka saying, hi, SOR After Hours. Hello, Matthew. Right back to you. Thanks for coming in. We appreciate you showing your love tonight. Let's see. We got Ange stepping in the building saying, hello again, SOR family. Yeah, I mean, SOR, it's been lit all day today. We've been on air since this afternoon with Dave Scott. And, yeah, we're going to end the night out with a bang like we do. And let's see. Okay, we're going down the list. We're almost there. Looks like we got the Ferrets. The Ferret came in saying, hi, Deidre, it's my man Roger and everyone. Hello, the Ferrets. Thank you so much for coming on in. We appreciate you. Let's see. Okay, the Elf has stepped in the building. Puck Elf. Thank you so much for coming in, Puck Elf. Appreciate you showing up. Let's see. Let's see. Aloha Dave 13. Saludo a todo de Mexico. Greetings to everyone from Mexico or Mexico. Dave, Aloha Dave 13. Thank you. We do appreciate you. Let's see. Silent. Listen. Okay. Yeah, no, I bet Courtney still hasn't slept. Hope she has. Because, yeah, I mean, 24 hours being up on keeping your finger on the pulse takes a lot out of you, and definitely hope she's getting rested up. Let's see. Okay, Poncho Zork. Poncho Zork is Spaced Out Radio. Word. Thank you for coming in, Poncho Zork. We appreciate you showing up tonight. Going down the list here, we got JSCO77. Thank you for coming on in, JSCO77. Appreciate you showing up. We are moving. Angela Ellison saying, hey, with the wavy hand emoji. Hey, Angela Ellison, thank you so much for coming on in. We appreciate you showing up. We do. Let's see. Necessary Dialogue. I like the name. That is yeah, I love it. Necessary Dialogue with the wavy hands. Thank you so much for coming on in. We appreciate you showing up. We got a girl named Tom. Thank you so much for coming on in saying crazy. I know, definitely crazy. There is no doubt about that. That is a great word to use. And thank you for coming on in. Let's see. We got Dragonfly. Dragonfly saying, evening, Robin, SOR chat. Thank you for coming on in, Dragonfly. Moving on. Lars Jansen stepped in saying, good morning, all. Thank you, Lars Jansen, for showing up. We do appreciate it. And as Mothman says, please sub to Lala and Bob's channel. Hit that YouTube link down there and make sure you guys go hit that sub button and that notification bell. Thank you, guys. We appreciate you. Let's see. We got Michael. Michael came in saying hello from Ohio. Hello, Michael. Thank you for coming on in tonight. Appreciate you. We got Little Cam 5-1. Spring football's in full force. St. Louis Battlehawks just won third straight game. Okay, all right. Love it. Appreciate you coming on in, Little Cam 5-1. And let's see, Robert Lamoth Jr. Hello, guys. Appreciate you coming on in, Robert Lamoth Jr. Thanks for showing on up. All right, we got Gentry Anderson. Gentry stepping in the building. Hey, Gentry. Saying hi to everyone. Thanks for showing up, Gentry. We appreciate your support tonight. Sandy B. Wavy hand emojis. Thanks for coming on in, Sandy B. Appreciate you coming on in. Thank you so much for showing up tonight. All right. Paramarv saying, howdy, folks. Wouldn't it be crazy if there was some massive development in the UFO world over the weekend? Oh, well, that'll never happen. LOL. Thanks so much for coming on in, Paramarv, because we know this has been pretty massive this weekend. So definitely appreciate the tongue-in-cheek, Paramarv, as always. Thanks for coming on in and showing your support. Let's move on down the road. Okay, and I think we got everybody covered, do we? Dead Fish Cheese Spread, thanks you so much for coming on in. We do appreciate you coming on in tonight. Let's see. Yeah, looks like we're pretty much caught up. We got River Morris saying, cooey from us Yowie Mob down under. Thank you so much for coming on in, River Morris. We do appreciate you showing up here at Spaced Out Radio After Hours. Thank you. Yeah, and looks like we are all caught up. So yes. Okay, we're going to go ahead and have a great time tonight, man. Feeling really good. I mean, like I said, what are we in? We're in almost the end of April here, so almost in the month 5 of the year. Not really a lot that had been going on too much, right? If you've been here at Spaced Out Radio, there's been whispers from Dave Scott and Courtney Marcassani about some things that potentially could be happening, things, they're talking to in the background, and really couldn't give too much information, but now we know it's all out here. So I'm hoping that this is the first step into a lot more movement this year. I hope this is really what sets it off. I can't wait to see how this whole thing fleshes out, right? I'm really hoping that, we can really get some traction, or at least this thing gets kicked into the next gear based on the things that Jason Sands is saying. You have to say, I mean, if what he's saying is true, then this has to be, one of the big dominoes, right? One of the dominoes that needs to fall in order to just say, hey, dude, come on out. Let's just talk about it, right? Let's talk about it, okay? And it's funny, and I'll just say this because if some people look at it and they say, oh, this just came out of nowhere. I don't really see it that way. If you think about Tim Gallaudet, right, at the end of last year, just came out of nowhere last couple weeks of the year and basically went on record saying, yeah, the government is in contact with extraterrestrials. Came out and said that, right? And then kind of just faded out. A lot of people were like, huh, okay, that was kind of, random. We've heard of that, random, unexpected. And then, boom, here he goes and says that. And then now we have Jason Sands coming out, pretty much illustrating an encounter that pretty much would back up what Tim Gallaudet said at the end of last year. So I'll leave that there because I'm sure this will be talked about a lot more tomorrow on the show with Dave and Courtney. So we'll leave that there. And what we're going to do is get into this blockbuster show tonight because we have Lala Bright here, and I can't wait to go ahead and bring her in, which we're going to do like right now. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me go ahead and bring in our guest for the night, Lala Bright. Hi, Lala. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Can't man, it's my pleasure, and I'm just can't wait to get into talking to you, Lala. So, I know that you're an experiencer, contactee, abductee, you have mediumship, in the remote viewing, the psychic aspect of this. So, what I'd like to do, if you wouldn't mind, is kind of get a background on you and see, when did you get into this? Like your earliest years, did you have a psychic ability that you noticed young on, or some? Just talk about some of your experiences and kind of what led you into the seat that you're in today.
Well, first of all, my dad was psychic and an experiencer, and he did Reiki. So I kind of always had guidance throughout my life when I wanted to listen. I really didn't listen that much to him. But I know the the first time I remember, I was around 5, and our neighbor, Grandma Cheyenne, that we loved, passed away. And we couldn't go to the funeral, so we went to go find her grave. And in Baltimore, Maryland, where I'm from, this one particular grave has like 1,000 graves. It's huge. And my parents went off somewhere, and I just walked around, and I heard her in my ear say, "I'm over here," and I felt like I was literally led to her grave. And I put my hand on it. And I told my parents, and my mom wasn't into this at all, but my dad, he knew that he had to start talking to me about what we can do and what we are. It really did scare me most of my life up until a couple years ago. I didn't like hearing them or seeing them. So what I've learned is if you tell them you're uncomfortable, they'll show you in another way. They'll communicate in another way. And so now they show me pictures that I decode. So when I read someone, it's almost like looking through a photo album. That's unless it's an emergency, and then they have to speak or show up. But the UFOs and aliens, I always had. I mean, I was even littler than 5. I always had the same dream of me in my backyard at night looking up, and these UFOs, a whole bunch of them would just fly over me slowly. And I didn't know what they were. I didn't even think of it. And then a couple of years later, my dad was watching a UFO movie. And I said, I know what they are. I dream of them all the time. And he didn't like talking about it, so he never said anything until I was much, much older. But it scared him. But so, I mean, I have an implant in my leg. I think they've always been around my whole life.
Wow, that's awesome. So okay, let me take a step back. So with the psychic or with the mediumship part of this, right, and being able to talk to or hear the voices of those who have passed on, is from your perspective, is that you reaching out to them, or and not necessarily you per se, but is that the medium reaching out to the other side, or is that the other side reaching out to the medium?
It's a mixture. For messages to other people, it's always the spirit finds me, and so I'm really shy. So a lot of times they'll find me, and they'll make my phone go on a photo that I never clicked, and I'm like, okay, I have to look into this. And it'll be like the husband. I know a wife that passed away. She put her husband's Facebook page on my phone, and I looked into it. And I found out she passed out, and I did the usual, like, I don't want to sound like a weirdo, but I have a message. And she was very particular about her message. It was, well, they were into S&M, and so I said, she's showing me chains and whips, and I don't know what that means, but he's like, oh my God, it is her. So it's just weird, weird things.
Yeah.
But most of the time they reach out to me unless I really need help, or like, my parents and boyfriend passed away, so I'll try to reach out to them. But usually I just kind of let them come to me.
And so, with you explaining that, right? So, in the event they're reaching out to you to have you relay a message to someone, and it's to you, it's random because you don't know this other person. So, the first time that happened had to be like, so you because you have to trust what it is that you are receiving in order to feel comfortable enough to deliver that message.
Hmm.
So is there, like, the first time that happened, like, what's going through, like, how do you contemplate, do I talk to this person or not? Like, how do you contemplate that?
Well, what they do is they'll keep bringing up images. Like, they'll nonstop keep giving me information until I give it, and that's the only way I really know I'm supposed to give the information. Because I always feel weird giving a message, unless it's someone I know. But they will bug and bug and bug me until I do it, and because it's so important. I guess there's only so many people you can reach out to give a message, and they're just very persistent with me, and not in a bad way. It's always nice. It's just they don't stop, pretty much.
And so is it, I would assume if it happens in that fashion, you they don't continuously use you for that connection. So for you, it seems like it's like a one off, and then
Hmm.
you leave that situation. So because the
Yeah.
thing I wanted to know is like, so what happens? What advice? So do you give the person that you give the message to? So once they realize that you are really giving them this message,
Hmm.
what is your advice to them from that point forward? Is it like, okay, you should go find someone that can help you keep that connection, or like what advice do you give after you deliver that information?
If it's someone they lost, like a spouse or a child, I always give them a couple extra readings when they need it, when they miss that person, just because I know how it feels. Um, and then eventually they do heal a little bit more, and they go off and do whatever. I don't really direct them anywhere. The one time I did keep a longer connection with someone that the spirits led me to, and I became friends with them. But I had to stop because the wife kept stepping in and trying to, like, I started getting feelings that I didn't have and memories I didn't ever do. It was just really strange. And it was kind of scary, really. I guess she was trying to step into me almost. And I knew the husband felt like he was speaking to her a lot of the time. So that was the only time. And from then on, I stopped doing that. I just kind of keep it business. I don't really get close to them at all. But I didn't know that could happen. So, and she didn't mean it in a bad way. It's just when you miss each other. A lot of times I think what they're doing is romantic, that they find somebody to speak to someone they love and miss. So I
Yeah.
think that's nice, but I don't need to be possessed. I'm good.
Right, right, and I mean, because the thing that comes to mind when I hear that is like Ghost, the movie Ghost.
Yeah.
And it's essentially that same thing. So that's kind of powerful, though, to be the person that is the conduit for that interaction to happen. That has to be fulfilling, right? I guess at the end of the day.
Yeah, the whole reason I stopped hiding about what I did is because when I lost my family, I really didn't have anybody to go to. I couldn't find any psychics that were really legitimate. And I said, if I can't get help, at least I can help other people not feel this much pain. So the whole reason is for that. That's why I'm even here. I mean, um, I got a message. I didn't know Bob, and I got a message for him, and I read for him, and it's led to all of this, really.
Yeah, I'm totally into the and open to the being led, and I totally understand how that is. You kind of just let yourself go, and you're directed into these positions, and and these doors seem to magically open, and I totally understand what you mean there. Let me ask you this on the mediumship part. So, do you get into the actual ghost hunting, the paranormal part of that, where you go out and you try to make contact with spirits or entities, or
I've done it before, and Bob wants to start doing it with me, and we want to find a group. Honestly, it's really cool to watch, but it scares the crap out of me. Because my luck, there'd be some horned demon jumping out at me just to mess with me. That's what my mind thinks every time. But
yeah,
I wouldn't mind going on some outings with people, but I don't think I'd want to do it all the time because it is easy to get an attachment. Very, very easy. There's so many people with attachments and they don't even know. And they don't know for many years because it starts like you don't feel good and then bad luck happens and it's just one after the other. And that's usually an attachment. So you got to be really, really careful. And.
okay. So talking about that, let's get into that. So actually, I want to give shout out to Science Bob first of all. Shout out Science Bob in the building. Appreciate you. So when you say attachments, so are those like hitchhikers? Hear that term being used in ufology? Is that like or the fear of taking some entity or spirit along with you, and it just kind of attaches itself to you? Is that what you mean?
That can happen, yes. The one I'm talking about, it's almost like a parasite. It will suck your energy slowly. There's all types. I mean, I had an attachment. I didn't know. I probably had it for a couple of years and I had no idea. But my parents they bought a house and it was on a battleground, which we didn't know. And I saw this portal open up on a wall, really bright light, and this shadow man slid out. And from then on, things started happening. It hated any man I brought over, whether it was a friend or whatever, hated them. And I mean, it knocked my cat out cold. It would climb in bed with me, just weird crap. So it's not always that you go out and it attaches. It can just come to you and see. And I think a lot of psychics, they draw things to them they don't mean to. So you have to be extra careful. But I mean, with aliens, I don't really see them as parasitic. I think aliens kind of just observe us, really. I mean, I know there's different types like reptilians that do things to people, but for the most part, I always find them positive. So, because they're all over here, they're always here every night.
Okay, so the entity that you speak about, the shadow entity, and believe me, I got shadow people, so I'm with you 100%.
Mm.
What's your theory on that? Because as long as I have this shadow person until it's gone, I'm always going to be inquisitive when it comes to that particular topic. So that attachment that you had, what do you think it was? Do you think it was a passed on spirit? And then I guess secondly, is it gone, and if it is, were there steps that you took for that to be the case?
Okay. I have mixed feelings about this. I always thought it was a ghost situation, but when it slid out of the room, out on the wall and back into the darker room, I literally just went back to bed. I don't know if I passed out or what. But usually I would have started freaking out, screaming, and ran upstairs. So that makes me think when I am involved with aliens, they numb me. I call it alien Xanax, right? And so I don't fear anything, I don't talk about it or anything. And with spirits, I pick up their emotions more, and so I do get more nervous about that. I I kind of think it's more on the alien side, but not exactly an alien. Maybe interdimensional being. I don't think it's good. I don't think they're ever good. I've heard so many crazy stories about them. You have one?
Oh, do I have one?
I want to
Since
know.
since you asked Lala Bright, because the thing is that and here's the thing, and this is why I'll say that because the audience here knows about the shadow prayer. I've shown it a million zillion times. However, I feel it's definitely worth showing. And the thing is that there's so many fake things out there, and then there's actual proof and evidence of things. And so
Right.
I want to make sure that the things that I know are proof, those things get showed rather than the things that aren't. So let me go ahead and just show you real quick. It's crazy, okay? And just the impact and the feeling is always the same every time I see this. And yeah, so we're gonna get to my. This is my shadow person.
Oh, wow.
This, I mean, come on, right? So this is my shadow person, and yeah, it's there. Okay, so
Hmm.
for people out there that don't feel like things like this can exist, these things are out there, and the whole question is like, what are these things, and
Right.
where do they exist? What are they related to? So I'm interested in hearing your theory on this because I hear you say that you feel like let me see. Is that okay? Yeah, that you feel like these might be related to extraterrestrial. So when you say that, what makes you feel that way? What do you feel like?
I think just because of the way that I just went back to sleep as if nothing happened. So they have to be, they're not ghosts, they're not aliens exactly. They have to be something in the middle. Nobody really knows what they are. I know there's three different types that I've heard. There's the Hat Man, and then the Shadow Man with legs. Mine didn't have legs, it just was a torso up to the head. Um, and it's just, I mean, there's been stories of shadow people killing people. They just, there's never a happy shadow person. I want to know. And, lately I've been really into demonology and researching it anyway. And maybe they're a type of demon and we don't even know, you know? There's so many different things out there.
You're creeping me out, Lala, because I live with
I'm
this.
sorry.
It lives here with me. So,
How does
it's
it
okay.
feel?
And that's the thing, and that's why I'm so inquisitive about it. And I think because because I'm living here with it, first of all, and then second of all, you know, I haven't realized anything that was evil about it. However, everything that I hear about shadow people is tied to some sort of malevolent experience. So, um, I would be probably, I don't know if I'd be more comfortable feeling if they were extraterrestrial or not, though.
Right.
Because then what does that mean? If they're extraterrestrial, then are they simply cloaking and they're actually sitting here in this room with me at the time?
Ah,
Or are they viewing me from some alternate dimension? Or, like, what's your theory on that? What do you feel about that?
I know they can cloak. We've got it on video. It almost looked like the Terminator, where you could kind of see an outline, but it was still see through. And the camera, motion camera, it picked it up and it moved along with the movement. So they do that. And I know that they can connect to us from other dimensions. They don't have to always be here. Um, I would just, I would get some things to protect yourself. I would look into that. Whatever makes you feel protected, put in your bedroom, especially. They seem to come around people while they're sleeping quite a bit, and they always watch all the time. So, do you rent or you own?
Own. And
Okay.
that's the great, yeah. So there's no, like I said, there's no moving, there's no leaving soon, right? So we'll be here together for a while. And it's just for me, and I just want to convey this to people out there, especially people who may have had a UFO sighting but never had anything weird paranormal. Truthfully, I had never before that ever had anything like that. And then I had things that happened back to back to back, and
Hmm.
then had receipts for them. And the thing is, I just want to convey the reality of those things to the people out there that may not think that these things are real or possible. Like, dude, you can't. You see the photo, guys. I mean,
Hmm.
there's no. I've never been a someone to embellish or to over exaggerate, or I'm just I consider myself a realist, 100% across the board, open
Right.
minded. Either we can go to either side of the spectrum. Just show me the evidence, right?
Hmm.
And I think that's I think the job for us is to kind of convey this the reality of this to those out there. It's kind of up to them to judge the final judgment, but at least we should be able to bring those receipts to the table. So I'm a big person on this year being the year of receipts, and just kind of trying to encourage people out there, like, if you have the receipts, put catalog them so everyone else can take a look at those, and kind of, because it might trigger something that they experienced that they might have passed off in the moment.
Right.
You know what I mean? So yeah, with that being said, so obviously, if these things are extraterrestrial and they're sitting there right there in the room, because the thing here's the reason why I even think like that is because they say that these ET are here, which we know they are, but that they also are here to watch us or watch over us. So when you think of things like that, and then you think of uh, the Las Vegas ETs, you think of like the Miami Mall incident, you think of the Peru, where these things just kind of materialize
Right.
out of nowhere. Then it's kind of like, are we with them? Like 20, can they step in at any moment?
Yeah,
Like regardless where we are. And it's
I
like,
think so.
what is your view on that?
I think they can step in whenever they want, no matter what, really. Um, we've had balls of light appear in the sky over the roof out of nowhere. We've had metal balls appear out of nowhere. We've had, human shapes appear where we've heard voices, and they can manipulate where we are. Good or bad, they can just manipulate the situation. They have a lot of control. But also, I think we're taught since the time we're born that we don't have any and like power, that we shouldn't believe in our own energies. So I think we would be able to do maybe a little bit of that if we were taught how powerful we really are. And we are. I mean, our bodies, there's a CIA document where we can actually grow back a limb. I mean, that's amazing. And I believe it because what happens when you get a paper cut? It heals, right? And that's
Mm-hmm.
just the most basic. I mean, imagine if we were aware of what we could do. So I think, I think a lot of them are here watching us to protect us and help us and guide us. I know that we're kind of doing like a self disclosure. I know they did say that if we help them, they'll help us. So I think there's something going on where we're forced or taught not to believe in this, and they're trying to make us remember, like, hey, we are really here. So,
Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting. So if that would be the case, if they were here, if they were trying to make us remember what it was that we were and what our potential is, um, then is do you think they're doing that by going through the government? Because like we have Jason Sands who just came forward, we have Tim Gallaudet who they both say that the ETs are in contact with our government, like we're in direct contact. So does that theory apply to uh, them circumventing the government, kind of going around them, saying, "Hey, we need to get to the people," which is
Mhm.
why we have experiencer stories to start with, or do you think it's that, and they're going through the government, dealing directly with the governments?
It could be both. I personally think there's different types of aliens that do have different agendas and go to different people. So I think the government's working with a certain type of entity. Um, and I think that the good, not the good aliens, I think they're different from the government ones. But I don't know. Nobody really knows. But just that's just how it feels. I mean, there's ones that do the cow mutilation and people have bad experiences, but there's a lot that are very gentle, and the gentle ones usually are with just everyday people. That's what I've noticed anyway. So I think there's a whole different type of being that speaks with the government. I've heard that they have what they signed. They have a contract with how long, like they work with the alien and government works with each other, and there's like my labs and all kinds of stuff. So I don't know.
Well, I mean, just like with with Jason Sands and all this stuff coming out, if this starts to kind of shore up that the stories like the whole Eisenhower story and the agreement, one of the theories that I've had, for the last year, has been that if they did meet with Eisenhower and they formed some sort of deal back then, what was the deal? And
Mhm.
then, was it we won't do X if you as long as you guys don't use nuclear weapons, or was there an ultimatum that was given then, said, hey, within the next 100 years you need to be at this position before we'll take the next step with you. So that's kind of where, when I got into the are they dealing with the government, just the ideas, it's like, okay, well, let's say those meetings happen. What were those conversations, and were there ultimatums?
Mhm.
Have you ever thought about that? And then what is your outlook on that?
I've heard from some people that part of that, what they discussed, was letting the aliens test on some humans. So I'm wondering if, I do have an implant, and I always wondered why. What am I somebody's pet, or do they test on me, or are they keeping track and protecting me? These are questions I really want to know because I don't know it. I mean, I've only been openly speaking about this for about a year and a half, and I'm learning a whole bunch of stuff. But I
Wow.
don't know. There's so many questions I have because everybody has a different answer. And when
Mm-hmm.
I speak to the aliens, and well, I call them to me. But I kind of feel like we're test subjects. A lot of the times I do. I think a lot of us are hybrids, and we don't even know. Um, so I mean, I know people don't exactly believe. Well, the people I talk to, they don't really believe in that everybody's a hybrid, but I do think that a lot of people are hybrids. So
Yeah, I mean, who's to say? I mean, who's to say? I mean, and that's why it's great to have a conversation from an open-minded place, because is that possible? Yeah, sure. Why not? Why isn't we still don't understand what our origins are. The first human. Like I said, I talked to someone a few weeks ago. I don't believe that this is our home planet,
right,
and there's just reasons why we just don't fit into the scheme of nature here, right? It's just nature works so seamless without our involvement that it almost points to like we're the outsider, when it comes to everything else that we see around us.
right, yeah,
So, I definitely feel that way. And the the tracking part of that, right? I think that's a thing too. I mean, because if you, it's no different, and it kind of leans to, uh, previous abductees who have repeat abductions, and
Hmm.
some people wonder, they're like, well, why? How would that be possible? How is it that you are the one that they choose to abduct every time? And it could be as simple as uh, activating, the same way we tag a dolphin
Hmm.
and let it off in the ocean and watch its migratory path throughout the year, and then
Yeah.
we can go right to where it's at a year later because we've put a tracker on it. So why wouldn't it be the same way and it just, when you start using that sort of logic and just common sense, then those things don't seem so far off. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Oh
So
yeah.
on yours, what do you feel like? Obviously, with the tracking abilities that they would have if they put something in you, there's no escaping it. You couldn't go anywhere on the world. So, do you feel like any moment could be that next time that something happens, or how do you go day by day?
If they'll come around, is
Yeah,
that what you
yeah,
mean?
like day by day. Do you feel like tomorrow could be the next time that they attempt to abduct, or do you have those worries and concerns, or
So I've noticed a trend. We have a camera outside, and when I'm about to wake up with, the typical bruise that they leave on me, like a triangle or some weird shape, the activity outside starts to ramp up a lot. And then after I wake up with the bruise, it goes almost completely away. I mean, there's some activity, but for a few months it'll be really quiet, and then all of a sudden it'll slowly start to ramp up again. So we'll get like a sighting outside, or something weird happens. So they'll light up the neighbor's roof like twice a night every day of the week, and I know that's when it's going to happen, and it does. It really does. It's a little eerie. I mean, I don't feel pain. I don't remember anything, but it's just strange because I do want to know what's going on, who's doing it, why are they doing it? Is my kid okay? Is Bob okay? Is my dog okay? Like, these are things that I think about all the time, and it sounds silly. It's not. It's certainly not normal to think that, but I do. I question all the time, and some people ask me, why don't you have it taken out of you? But there are people that have done that, and it comes right back in their body in a different place and harder to remove. So, and other people, like, if I take it out, will I get sick? Will something happen to me? So these are all things that go through my mind. I don't mind. I mean, I found out by accident that I had it. I don't mind that I have it. I would like to know what the hell's going on. You know, I don't. I think I know my dad had activity. I've heard that it goes in your family. So if you've had it, your mom or dad's had it, and their parents had it. So they kind of stick within the family for some reason. I know we're all O negative, and I think sometimes bloodlines have something to do with it.
do you feel that the as far as the abductions go, that the so and I know you kind of hinted towards this, but do you feel like that the governments are just fully aware that this is happening and they just can't stop it, or is it more so that these things are happening and they've made a deal? So, you know, which one of those two things is more likely to you?
Um, I don't think they have that much control over what the aliens do. Um, so I think in return they made a deal because of that. They want to have some sort of control over the situation, or feel like they do. So I think that they did do that. I think that they're in on. I know that there are people that get abducted, but it's actually government that's abducting these people, making them think it's an alien, which doesn't make any damn sense at all. But it happens. So they're obviously working together, and um, Maybe they're trying to make us superhuman. I don't know. It's just strange. But I think because they fear of not having control that they made a deal.
Hmm. And that's the part that bugs me, right? Because I did a show called "The Perception, Alien Perception of Humanity," and it kind of went over some scenarios where, you know, if the government was in a meeting with these ETs at some point, like what were some of the things that they agreed to
Mhm.
without considering the rest of humanity, right? So
Right.
these, if they're going to make a commitment or ultimatums are going to be presented, it's going to be something like get rid of the nuclear weapons. And, you know, what if my thought was like, okay, what if the aliens came and said in that meeting, you guys need to get rid of these things within 50 years or we're coming in and whatever, you know, whatever the case is going to be, but the government keeps kicking down the road so they won't get rid of the nukes. So does that change the alien? So they're initially coming in wanting to help us do better or to help us ascend by saying, hey, get rid of the nukes. But then if the government never does that change the way that those aliens are looking at humanity as a whole? Or do those aliens understand that this is that these are a people that are literally being controlled by this smaller group, and they kind of give us the benefit of the doubt? Those are just some of the ideas that I kick around when we talk about things like that. But I don't know how you feel about that. But
I would think that they're aware. I think that's why some of them do come to us because they know that we don't all think alike. We don't. They know that the government controls us. So I think they know because they could have blown us up by now. Honestly, if they wanted to, they could have. We've seen what they can do. I know that our government has a lot of. They built a lot of things that are really amazing and mimic some of their craft, but I think they're trying to help us. Some of them, part of whatever the alien they are, I think they are trying to work around the government and come to us. Um, yeah, I don't think they think all of us are bad because they're
yeah,
smarter than us too. They got to know.
and see another part of that was a thing that I would question too, especially now more so that Jason Sands is out here now. Um, would be, and I'll probably end up posing this question later if we get them, but um, what do these ETs? So if they are in business with the governments, our government or any other government, I wonder. I always have wondered what they think about the body retrievals, crash retrieval, body retrieval. So our governments go in, they retrieve the crash craft, they retrieve these downed ETs, and then they take them back underground or to these laboratories, wherever they end up taking them. And I always wondered, is there a point where they hand those bodies back over to the ETs? Do they
Mm,
ever get them back? Because I would assume that if they didn't, and if they're like in the movies, they're putting them in these glass tubes with full of liquid, is that something that the ETs would be okay with? If they had any sort of moral compass, I would feel like no. I would
right.
feel like that would be a problem, and they would
Yeah,
want their guys back.
I
But
agree.
yeah, what do you think about that?
I agree with that. I do. I mean, maybe they don't care like we do. Maybe it's just a vessel to them. Maybe they just don't
I've heard
care.
that. I've heard that
So,
perspective too.
yeah. I mean, a lot of people think that what they like about us is that we are a soul, a spirit that uses bodies and hops around from body to body, and that's what we do. And maybe they find that interesting because they just can't do that.
Mm.
So,
Mm. Interesting, Lala Bright. Very interesting. So here's what we're gonna do. We're at the top of the hour. We're gonna go ahead and pause for the cause as we get ready to jump into this break, and we'll be right back with hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio After Hours. You guys don't go nowhere. This is gonna be a hot one. See you in just a minute. that guitar, y'all. You know that means that we are back. We are back with hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio After Hours with me, your host, Mr. Rob G, as we are joined by our guest tonight, fantastic guest, Lala Bright. And we've been getting into a bunch of stuff. We're going to go ahead and shift gears a little bit. So you are a psychic, and I wanted to know, is a psychic, and maybe what the differences are in your definition between a psychic and then a remote viewer, right?
Mhm.
So, can a psychic automatically remote view, or is a remote viewer automatically psychic, or how do those two intertwine in your eyes?
I don't know if this is the right answer, but I personally believe that it kind of bleeds into each other, really. I know when I remote view, I have to do it a certain way. I always want to cheat and just do it the psychic way. But because when you're psychic, you go back in time or in the future, you go to places, events. That's very much like remote viewing.
Okay, and so as far as when you put your psychic hat on, what type of things are you? So when it comes to the people that you interact with, what type of requests are you fielding when it comes to being a psychic?
Usually it's to connect to people they lost, but there's some people that want me to, if they got abducted, I go and see what happened. It's just for validation. I can't do anything for them, but I'll say, where an implant is, and they go, I do have a new scar there, or that's what I remember, but I thought it was a dream. So I go, I put myself in these places that they were, and I report back what I see.
Do you get into the whole psychic healing, and what is your perspective on that?
I I haven't yet. I should. I know my dad would want that. Um, what I do is I do healing in a way of, I guess, healing people's hearts, but I do believe in healing energetically, Reiki, other things. It's very helpful to people. There we do have a lot of blockages naturally, just from everyday life things that we really do need help energetically. So I do believe in it. But I should do it eventually. I'm a slow learner. I can't help.
No, and it's actually, to have someone that is, this is you're a couple years in for this, right? So it's it's kind of refreshing to have a perspective from someone who is so new to the field, right? So and what
I'm
your
not new
outlook
to the
is.
field. I'm not new to the field. I'm new to being public about it.
Okay, so then how long has this been going on? How far do we go back?
With being psychic,
Yes, your
my whole life.
ability.
Yeah, my whole life. I uh, I just hid from it a lot. If I would tell people about it, they'd either I'd get bullied or made fun of, or people didn't want to be friends anymore. So I just kind of kept it to myself. And every once in a while, I would do it to help somebody. But then, a couple of years ago, I lost my mom, dad, and boyfriend. And that's when I started helping people online more often. And then I ran into Bob, and he got me into publicly talking about it. But I've publicly
Mm.
been talking about it a year and a half. Yeah.
Okay. So that's what that is. Okay. Okay, and so how do you feel about? I know the general answer on this and how I feel, but are you one also that feels that psychic abilities are things that are we're all naturally born with, and those are things that we have to unlock? Is how you feel as well?
I do. Yeah, I think, like I said before, we're taught that this is wrong or weird or fake. And so, little kids, they naturally see ghosts right away and don't think anything of it, 'cause they're not taught yet that it's wrong. But as we get older, we kind of push it away. Um, but I do think every one of us can do that. And I know that some people have more of a psychic ability than others. But I know if you do push it away too long, you can become very depressed. There's a lot of issues that'll happen because you're blocking your calling. And it'll just come out as anxiety or depression. So it's better just to let it happen.
I sit back sometimes and I just think about how we would interact with each other, like at the point where everyone has realized this ability that's locked inside of them, and this now is unlocked, and now everyone has the knowledge on how to access this. I just want it just makes me think about what how we would interact with each other in at that point. Like, is it, do we stop talking at that point? Is it all using like telepathy and things of that nature? Like where are we going with this? Where what do we evolve into? And then that kind of leans into the what some people say about uh, what we're seeing in these ETs being us down the line in the future, not needing to talk, and maybe is that the beginning of that trajectory? I don't know what your outlook on that is, but you know, it's some of the things that they throw around out there. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think if we let ourselves use our own powers, that we wouldn't need words anymore. We would speak like the aliens and spirits do. Um, I mean, we hear it as words, but they communicate with telepathy. I think I don't know if that's us in the future. I've heard that before. I'm not sure, but I do know that if we had our full potential, we wouldn't need to use words anymore. There'd be no point, really.
That's kind of scary too, because I'm a musician and I do things vocally, and it would be weird. Like, what happens to the thing? Music is like the biggest part of most of our lives, like the international, you know, unspoken language. And it's like, what would happen to that at that point? Those are just things that I think about. But the whole aliens not being us from the future, I'm with you on that. I don't know if I buy into that as much
Mhm.
because it just like, let's make sense of that then. Okay, what about the butterfly effect, right? You know, if they're us from the future, if they're coming back, why would they? Because the smallest thing that they would do here, right? If in theory would cause a butterfly effect, and then things would change for them in the future, and
Mhm.
uncontrollably. So that theory just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I think they're a whole different type of being, honestly. I think we were created by perhaps them. I don't know, but I don't. I think I think we have parts of us are from them. Maybe genetically, they altered something, but I think we're just like a creation, pretty much. I do.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, if you look here, just an example on Earth, right? Because I think a more plausible thing would be that maybe, like you stated, there's a relation there, you know,
Mhm.
and maybe it's a relation because we are all living things within this universe.
Right,
So, on some level, we are all related, not necessarily meaning these things created us or you know, or us from the future.
right.
So, and obviously that you could, that's a can of worms because you could go so many different ways with that.
Yeah.
But, you know, when we start thinking logically in the things that are actually plausible, then it just makes more sense that probably on the grand scheme, we're all in relation somehow, and none is bigger than the other as far as that goes, but they're just more advanced, you know, technologically
Right.
and mentally, but on a maybe even on a DNA level, if we ever get the chance to run DNA, we might find that maybe they share, you know, DNA on some level, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
So that's a thing. Hopefully, we get to see within our lifetime. But with that being said, do you feel? What do you think about? Well, first of all, how many species or races of extraterrestrials do you feel are out there, or
Oh, yeah.
currently not really out there, but currently involved with us at the moment?
Oh my God, there's so many. I mean, I don't think we can put a number. I think there's many, many, many of them. Even the ones that kind of stand back and we don't see. I think there's so many. I do. I don't think you can put a number on it because we're such a large universe. You know, anybody or anything could stop by and check us out. I think maybe the one I know reptilians are a big thing, Palladians. So we, as a public, we hear certain names. So what are they, like 5 or 6 of them that we put a name to? But
Right.
there's just so much we don't know about. I don't
Right.
know.
Right. Right. And I get to, some of the things that I end up having problems with is when you have, certain people are that will say that these ETs are from a particular star system, or these ETs told them that. When in theory, they they wouldn't know the names that we've created for these star systems. So how in the world would they come here and use those same terminologies with us, and we're the ones that created it? So,
Yeah,
but
I
but
agree.
it's tough because you want to sift through this stuff. You don't really want to discount what anyone is really saying at the
Right,
same time, but you want to get to the meat and potatoes, and you kind of want to get the excess out of the way.
right,
And it's like navigating through that, and without trying to offend anyone's experience, because that may be something real for them. But
right.
there are just definitely some things that you have to think twice about. You know what I mean? I don't know. What do you
It
think?
it drives me a little crazy that there's a lot of people, and not, good for them, but there's a lot of people that are very, it's like they have the answer to everything. And we don't know nothing. We don't know anything. We're guessing. We like, as humans, we like to label things so we feel better. But we don't know crap. I can't cuss, sorry. But
I feel you though. Yeah.
so that's why I say a lot of times, I have an opinion about things, but I don't know. And there's a lot of people that hang on every word of what someone says, especially people that are publicly speaking. There's other people that hang on their words. So I think you have to be very careful about what you say you know. You know what I mean?
Oh, I do, and thank you so much for saying that, because I want to say behind that, ufology, to everyone out there, brothers and sisters in ufology, let's please stop taking the stance that we know everything. Please, if you have that stance, I think you should probably that's probably a self reflection opportunity, where maybe you could recalibrate your thought process, and kind of just get yourself back in that middle open minded ground, because that's where I like to keep myself at. I have conversations obviously with a lot of people who have different experiences, and
Right,
some claim to have to know all this information. Um, and then with myself, because I'm subjected to those conversations, I often have to self reflect myself and recalibrate myself to make sure that I didn't fall too far to this side,
right,
by being exposed to these conversations.
yeah,
So it's just, please, yeah. I mean, if anyone out there, and it's just a simple request, just hey, if you feel like you know all the answers, maybe self reflect for a moment, kind of retool that, and realize that there's no way that any of us could even know a fraction of what it is that we'll find out on the other side of
right.
disclosure. So I'm glad you said it, because this should be said. So appreciate that. So with that being said, let's go ahead and move into remote viewing, right? So Project Stargate was a thing we know, and one of the theories as well that I have is that the government has known that we have these locked up abilities, which is why they have done things like Project Stargate, which on the surface seems so bananas that they would be doing this. but I think they have a heads up on what our capabilities are, and they tested those things, but they don't want us to know what those things are,
Mm,
because then if we become unlocked and enlightened, then they no longer have that control over us.
right.
Right? So what do you think about that?
I agree 100%. I think they want to keep us dumb and, in survival mode so that we rely on them. It's a really bad cycle if you think about it. Now, there are some people that kind of stand out a little bit, and I think the government went after those people and used them quite a bit to get access, I guess, in a greedy way. They wanted answers to certain things and they used a regular everyday person that had a little more ability than others. And I kind of feel bad for those people, honestly. I do.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and it's just blatant, right? Because well, and we're becoming to see more and more how blatantly wrong that their position is, because then it becomes obvious what it is that they're doing. So I know when I first heard of Project Stargate, and just the ability to remote view something that it isn't even here,
Right.
something that's so far away that it doesn't make sense that you should be able to do that. But then once you understand that, hey, there's literally a whole portion of the brain that we don't even use, in the life that we currently live. And then
Right.
once you kind of wrap your mind around that, it's kind of like, well, maybe we do have the ability to do that. So your experience with remote viewing, like
Mhm.
what goes into something like that? How is someone able to connect to something across the world?
Well, originally I didn't even know I was remote viewing. I just thought it was a different type of psychic. I had no idea. Um, and then Bob and I, we took lessons from Simeon, he's wonderful. He's so laid back. He could be a kindergarten teacher. I mean, he's this nice person.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
there's a way of doing it. I just kind of closed my eyes and all this images came to me, but he taught me to write down everything. Even if you feel like it's wrong, that's our brain trying to control the situation of something we don't understand, which
Mm.
helped me a lot because I do disregard quite a bit of what I feel or sense. And I've learned that everything means something. And in remote viewing, like if the government or an organization wants to remote view, they'll get a group of people, and each one of them has their own information that they wrote down or they drew. And when you put it together, it makes sense, but separately it doesn't. And so it was a good learning. It was good learning that because I think we all are very hard on ourselves. And so if anybody, I think anybody can learn how to do this. It was really fun. It's almost like letting your imagination go. That's what it feels like.
I am now in a position where I want to try some of these things. I've the CE5, which I think is kind of tied into that whole consciousness, psychics, that whole ability. I think CE5 is kind of that same thing. I
Mhm.
want to try that. I want to try remote viewing. It's always amazed me that, and maybe you can explain, like when someone says. They give them a target.
Mhm.
What does that really mean? Like, how does that process take place? Because
You
I
get
hear people say it all the time.
you get coordinates, so you write down numbers, and that's all you know is the numbers, and you try to imagine where that is. And that's like the best way I can say it, I guess. But that's how it always is. They give me numbers, and then I try to go to where that is and explain what I'm seeing. So it could be on another planet, or it could be in the side of a volcano. It could be a group of people. You want to know what are they wearing, what are they eating, what's it look like around them, how does it feel, is it hot, is it cold, what are the colors. You want to write down all of this because eventually it'll make sense to somebody. It just doesn't make sense to you. Um, I think you should try it. I think you'd be surprised that you'd be really good at it, honestly.
It's scary too because every time you peel one layer of the onion back, it's just more, and it's like, whoa, okay, what am I into?
Well,
And yeah, go ahead.
the thing is, you do have to be careful that when you remote view, you're kind of going into a realm where others can intercept or get to you or block you. There are trained people with, I guess I'll say, very wealthy people. They hire remote viewers to block other remote viewers. So that's a
Mm,
whole nother thing you got to worry about when you really get into it. It's easy to bump into other people doing this. So you have to be very careful and protect yourself. Even if you don't really believe in the whole white light, just imagine a light around you protecting you. You should always protect yourself beforehand. So there's lots of things out there that can um, bother you, I should say. That'd be a nice
now,
way of putting it.
now with remote viewing, so is it something where, in your, if you were to describe it, are you just physically and consciously where you are, and then you are projecting these things, or do you feel like your consciousness is almost like astral traveling to
Mm-hmm.
these locations, like in a dream almost?
That yes, I do think it's like astral. Well, if you want to do it the psychic way, it comes to you in your thoughts. But if you can travel astral, and that's where other things are. That's where you have to be careful. And I don't even. I mean, it could be a living person there that's trained to intercept, or other beings that are just waiting to attach. It's a
Mm.
very Wild West situation. And I know that sounds weird and dumb, but it it really happens. There's just things out there that like preying on people that aren't well aware of what they're doing. And I think in our dreams even that happens quite a bit. There's this one thing I've been seeing all over the internet, all over the world, that if you're in a dream and you realize you're dreaming and you ask for the time or the date, everybody in your dream stops and gets upset, and they either kill you out of your dream or make you run off. But like every person that's had this situation says the same thing, and it's all over the world. So I don't know. That's a conspiracy, but I think it's interesting. There's things in our dreams that are pretending to be something to us, and when we're aware, they get upset. So,
You know what it almost reminds me of when it's just thinking about it? It reminds me like when you say that, then there's those that are may have the ability to block. It almost the an analogy to use would be almost like it's like the internet, right? And
mhm,
it's like someone can see when you've come online, right? They can see you're online. They
yeah,
can they can attack your IP address.
mhm,
You can put up firewalls and
yep,
things of that nature. It's almost like what it seems like. So you're like going out into the wild wild web, in the consciousness wild wild web, and there's things that are tuned in that are able to see that you're online and can kind of affect your experience online. That's kind of what it, sounds like to me, right? I don't know.
absolutely. That was perfect. That's how it is. Honestly, it is.
Wow, 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 wow. That's a heavy thing. And so and from what I understand, governments still use this tactic
Mhm,
to this day.
yeah,
Um, and it just makes me think, right? So, is that something? So can somebody, if someone who's with remote viewing, can they remote view on demand as far as like targets they choose? Like, can someone say, okay, I'm gonna remote view Lala right now, and then effectively do that?
yeah, they can.
Wow,
Yep,
that is so
it's
intrusive.
creepy.
That is so intrusive because, you hear some, yeah, I just like, I don't know how I feel about that, right? Because we all
What
like our privacy.
what if the shadow people are remote viewers that are just sneaking in?
I posed that question because I was like, what if in even on another level, what if the shadow people are people who are in astral travel? What if I'm seeing someone who's astrally traveling? This is what I can see. I've thought about those same things. So believe me, my mind is like, da-da-da. I'm running through all these different scenarios and what this thing could be, and yeah, that's kind of what keeps me going on this because it's a never ending, you know, puzzle that we are sitting here solving. And it's fun to do because it's real, for one, and
Hmm.
it's something that in this moment, figuring out the answer to this is something that is big enough to shift the direction that humanity goes going forward. And that is just to wrap your mind around that thought alone is crazy. Like we're actually living in a moment where if we can get this disclosure or get to the other side of this to realize that we're not alone and that we have all these other abilities locked within us, that where does that take us? And that's what keeps me going all the time on this. So yeah, with that being said, I have my own UFO sighting, and I know that you've had some as well
Hmm.
that you spoke about with orbs and things of that nature, right? What do you think orbs are?
Um, Sometimes they're spirits just traveling, so we are energy, and it to us it looks like a little floating energy ball of light, right? Um, and in my opinion, aliens, I think I've seen a craft turn into what looked like an orb. So I learned then that they can morph into anything. So it's just energy, really. That's what I think. It's just they go through portals. They can shapeshift into things, and I think it's easier for us to see an orb. It's less scary to see an orb than it is as a massive craft. So I think they like to show up as something a little more
Hmm.
less threatening. I mean, I've seen a craft up close to where I saw the detail of the bottom underneath of it. It was
Wow.
amazing. Um, it was at night, and I was driving my friend home, and a helicopter flew up, shined its spotlight in the cloud, and I saw the craft in there. It was very low and it was huge, but I only saw the bottom of it, and it looked like a bunch of black metal pipes intertwined with each other. But the pipes were as wide as the body of the helicopter. And I
Wow.
drove under this thing. It didn't have any lights, but the spotlight was making it shine. And when I drove under it, there wasn't sky anymore. It was just the bottom of the craft. That's how close this thing was. And I don't remember driving home. My friend doesn't remember at all anything, but I remember the detail of what it looked like. It's interesting. Every time I've seen something like that, I don't remember the rest of the night. And my dad and we shared an experience where I was at their house in Florida, and right over their roof, I mean, they were so close they could have touched the roof. There were these like 3 or 4 foot round orange orbs, 5 of them, and they went into a shape of a V. I was helping him take out the trash, and I said, "Dad, do you see that?" And he looked right up at them, and he robotically said no, and he turned around and walked into the house, which was unlike him because we were best friends, and and plus he was into this stuff, so he would have been excited.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked back when he went in the house. I looked back up at them, and one by one they went away. And I don't remember doing the trash. I don't remember going inside. I don't remember going to bed. I just remember the next day I woke up. And we never spoke about it. And that's what I mean when I say alien Xanax. It's just, I'm numb. I don't want to share. Like most of my life, I never shared this before. But when I got with Bob, he kind of helped me express everything that's happened because I never researched it. I never talked about it. Nothing. It's strange, really. But I've learned that a lot of people have this happen to them.
Yeah, and and we've always there's we know that there is a percentage of people, probably a large percentage, well, for sure a large percentage of people who just haven't come out and told their story, haven't added their sighting to the database so that we understand. Because when we look at ufology, and you have outsiders that look at ufology, they look at it as this small little subset group of people
Right.
with these stories. When I think probably when you look at it in the wide scope, you're going to find out that it's small because there's a lot of people that haven't come out and said anything.
Right.
Now imagine if you could snap your finger and everyone who hadn't told this story has come out and told it, then I think maybe we're 50-50.
Yeah.
Then I think, or even maybe 60-40, you know what I mean? So, and then when it gets into that space, then I think the on the grand scale, then this becomes something that's undeniable at that point, right?
Right.
And it's one of the steps, and one of the what one of the steps that we have to take to get there. So, and like I said, that's why telling these stories are so important. Now, going back to the orbs, though, so the orbs being energy balls. So, do you and you feel like the craft sometimes show themselves as these orbs? Um, and that's a awesome theory, because I had a sighting where these things were in the daytime. They were physical things, and I thought, okay, they're whenever you see a bunch of them, they're in these V formations, like you stated a moment ago. And my theory was, okay, maybe in the daytime they're not orbs, they're physical things, and then maybe at night is when they illuminate. But your theory right there sounds pretty awesome, where it's like, okay, instead of showing this huge craft, let me manifest myself as something like an orb. And that kind of makes sense too. Now, orbs, as people who hunt for Sasquatch, and or hunt, I'd say search for Sasquatch, um, often mention seeing orbs and things like that.
Hmm.
What do you think that connection is?
I've heard that too. A lot of people, if they saw a Bigfoot right above them, where orbs flying around, I think they're a type of alien being, because I've never experienced one, but I know a lot of people say when they see footsteps, there's the right footsteps, but the left one's missing, or something like that. Like they're in between realms almost. And so maybe there's an alien that's really hairy. I mean, I don't know, but they're connected in some way. And I've heard that they can read minds. They have telepathy. They're very intelligent. They're not always this big scary beast. So I think it's a type of, I don't know, it's some type of being that goes between the realms. I think it's
Yeah.
interesting. I don't want to see one because I'll freak out, but I think it's cool.
Yeah, I mean, and see, the thing is, and I wouldn't even probably put those two together and try to connect those like you just did. But there are a lot of people who see Bigfoot who state that they see these orbs as well. So then it's like, okay, well, what are the two? What is the correlation between the two?
Mhm.
And I always, when we talk about that, I always point back to like Star Wars, because you had Chewbacca, which obviously was
Mhm.
a Bigfoot, and
Yes.
he's aboard the ship with the other
Right.
beings, right? So it's like, okay, is this Gene? I mean, who's it? Lucas? Yeah, George Lucas. Is
Mhm.
this Lucas trying to kind of hint towards that these Bigfoot are in relation to something not from this earth?
Mhm.
I could see them as being a species, because if so many planets that are life, or that harbor life out there, intelligent life, just way too many to count. So why couldn't one of those species easily be a hairy species? Why not?
Right.
Why not? So it just makes sense when you start breaking it down, and looking at what's plausible and what's not, it just makes a lot of sense.
I just thought something interesting. It's probably dumb, but I think it's funny. What if Earth is like the Noah's Ark, and they picked a bunch of different types of species and threw them here, except
Yeah.
some can go into different realms, but we can't. There you go.
Yeah. Okay. I like that too. The whole Noah's Ark thing is I think that too. I think when and that's obviously from the Bible. And
Mhm.
so I feel like the Bible is a book of metaphors,
Right.
and
Yeah.
I think the ark for potentially, especially fit with the strong feeling that we probably aren't from here, it would
Hmm.
make sense that if this story it was in reference to us, that the ark probably, maybe these are all we are all from another planet and we're all put here. And that's kind of where the farm idea comes to play as well, because you look around and the only reason why we don't freak out and kind of and it kind of even blows me away too, because with the skeptics that don't feel like other things can be possible, you
Hmm.
go in the ocean and you look at a squid and you tell me that's a normal thing.
Right.
We just know it to be normal here because we discovered it here and we figure it's an earthbound creature and it's been here forever. But who's to say at some point in time that wasn't harvested from some other planet and then dropped here along with all these other things? Because some of these things are so diverse in their appearance that
Hmm.
it just it's a good it's plausible. I'll say it's plausible. What do
Yep.
you think about that?
I do. I think we're a big zoo with a bunch of different things thrown in here. Because, I mean, I know the consciousness and love each other, but none of us really get along that well. And, I can't go and talk to a lion, it'll eat me. I mean, it's just none of us, we all kind of, we don't mesh well at all, really. Does that make sense?
Heck yeah, it makes sense because when you say that, if the whole idea of this project, it was to have a cohesive uh, globe of different living things that are able to uh, kind of symbiotically merge together and kind of live along with each other and kind of complement each other.
Right,
We're the only ones that don't complement
right.
the whole situation. Like, we actually are doing things to kind of destroy the project, truthfully, like with the nuclear weapons and all these
Yes.
bright ideas that we have as human beings. Like, everything that we most of the things that we do are go totally against nature's plan. So it's like, when you look at it, what it say, if you look around, if everybody has a crazy uncle, if you look around you don't see one, and it's
You
probably
are.
you. Yes, and that's kind of like what I think it is for us as humans. So yeah, your thoughts, please.
Um, well, that made me think of something else. I've heard quite a bit, and maybe it's true that they harvest something from us, and so if you want to keep, if you want to keep taking from people, you're going to let them run around, do what they want. You won't let them get out of hand. You'll stop them if you need to, but maybe they're harvesting us for something, and they're letting us just be dumbasses running around blowing things up. I mean, I don't know. But that's what some people think. They think that because I heard somewhere if if you want to control somebody, let them think they're free, and then they won't fight to get free.
Mm,
So
lovely. I like that. I really do, because that's exactly what's going on. And you point to it, and without going too deep on it, obviously, but I think that's the bubble we have to break, because we have this comfortability in these in the bubbles that have been created. Like, we think it's so great to be free, is what we call
mhm.
it. But then you look around and you can't even go pitch a tent in the forest for more than a week or two without them telling you can't do it, right? And
Right.
this is free land. This is BLM land. We should be able to do that. And they even take the free things from us and control every aspect of everything. So that's a
Mhm.
whole different rabbit hole. And I could talk for days on that because I think it is so unjust, and I think it's a crime against humanity. Let's start there, and that's the reason why we have to continue having these conversations because we have to change that process. We is as comfortable as a lot of people are in the way things are, we still have to kind of blow this up because the way that it's currently constructed is not constructed in a way that it will allow humanity to progress and ascend. It just isn't set up that way. So
Absolutely.
if you're comfortable with this and you want to keep staying in this, that means no ascension for humanity. And that means war could be tomorrow, and that same thing continues to happen. Like, don't you want to leave this planet knowing that it has shifted in a way that is going to be so much more
Right.
beneficial and open to your descendants, your great grandchildren, and all your descendants down the line? We have to we have to look at the two and understand that sometimes to get better you have to break it down. You have to break it down to build it back up. And it's tough to say that because we live in a country where it's supposed to be like the best place to live in the world. We
Mm-hmm.
should have no worries here, but even this is something that we have to break down in
Right.
order to get to that next step.
But we have so much fear of the unknown, and we are used to being controlled, from birth. And in a sense, we're controlled no matter what we do. And so it's scary to think outside the box. I think fear is what stops a lot of us. And I think fear is what also stops people from believing in certain things like spirits or aliens. Even if they see it, they get scared and go, "I didn't see that. It was a bird," or. So I think the number one thing is to work on not fearing so much. But I
Yeah.
think that the government relies on us fearing everything because and what do? They do fear tactics to get us to worry or to look over here so no we're not looking over here. It's just they play a little game so that we don't want the we're so in survival mode that we don't ever take the time to kind of lift our heads up from the phone and look around because all you have to do is just look up. If you look at nighttime you're going to see something. They're all around us.
One thing I'll say, which I think is important too about this society, and this is just one of the real reasons why everyone should want this to be different, is even in a country like America, is supposed to be the best country, supposed to be the richest country, best wages. Even when you look at someone who would make $50,000 a year, which is supposed to be decent, okay money to live on, and you look at how this thing is set up, because like you said, we're born into this. You don't have a choice. You're
Right.
born into it, and literally, your life is predetermined in a lot of cases
Mm-hmm.
by the way this is set up. So think about this, and I've said this on my own channel. If someone came to you at 18 years old and gave you a check for $2 million and said, okay, take this check, but for this check in return, you will work for me for the next 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a deal that you would take? Would you take that? Or would you feel like your worth is a lot more than that? Would you be satisfied with a $2 million check to work for the next 40 years of your life? Or would you feel like, no, I'm definitely worth more than that? Because,
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead and answer that.
18-year-old me would have been, I would have said yes, but now I'd be like, well, what kind of work am I doing, first of all?
Well, here's the thing with that. And the reason why I put that number out there, that's because if you look at it, $50,000 a year salary for 40 years of working is going to be roughly 2 mil. And we're not even talking taxes. And
Yeah,
that's if you are working every single day of that 40 years. So
yeah,
it's really going to be a lot less than that. And it's just the question is are you okay with your descendants signing up their entire lives, essentially signing
yeah,
their lives
no,
away for a couple
right,
$1 million? And the answer is going to be no, uh,
right,
more so than not, right? So with that being said, then that means things have to change. We're talking about the best country, the best possible situation, the best financial situation, a wage that in most parts of the country you'd be rich, and it's still not enough to even wet your whistle. And if it was handed to you at 18, you would look at the person probably crazy. And it's like, okay, putting that into perspective, that means we're in a system that doesn't work, that shouldn't be working, but there are so many things within this society that distract you from those facts. Like
yeah,
you don't whoever thought that to look at it that way, like, okay, I'm really signing myself away for $2 million. Whoever really thought to look at it like that? They hate that you would even get to that thought process
right,
because they're like, whoa, okay, they're starting to figure it out.
yep,
And the thing is that to change what we're in, there's only a few things that can shift humanity like instantly, and that would be an asteroid impact that was
mm-hmm,
big enough to kind of change the game. It would be nuclear war. Now, with these two things, you're talking about massive losses of life, probably even extinction level event.
right,
And then that third thing that shifts immediately humanity is this disclosure on these ETs. And
yep,
this is the one thing that doesn't end result in a massive loss of lives that we have control over, that we can do something about right now by
right,
just getting all of our experiencer stories together, presenting them to the rest of the world so that everyone knows that, where we're at.
right. I, I, I personally believe that the government won't ever give a disclosure to people willingly. I think if they're forced to because something happened and it's in our face, then they might make up something that sounds relatively close to the truth. But they want that control. If they lose that control, they lose power over us. And then, you know, it's going to really be
Yes.
wild for a while, until we get our bearings. Because, look, some people are going to go crazy. They will just go nuts.
Yes.
So it's going to be, no, go ahead.
No, no, you're on a roll. Go ahead.
I think there's going to be a natural disaster, honestly. I keep feeling it. I keep having the dreams. I hate that I'm saying this, but it's just this reoccurring dream that it looks like a planet. It doesn't hit Earth, but it comes so close that it makes floods and the roads crack. And I keep having this dream. And then now there's all types of weird weather happening, like extra weird weather. And it scares me because I have dreams that come true. And they're always warning dreams. And so, I mean, I don't think I've ever shared this before, but I think that's what's going to happen.
And you may not be too far off from the truth, Lala. I'll tell you because if we remember, I think it was just back in 2013, the um, the asteroid that exploded above Russia, some city in Russia, and kind of blew out windows and things of that
Yeah,
nature. And that asteroid was not detected. It came in from the sun, so it was not detectable until it was too late. And literally, the whole thing transpired from the moment you saw it in the sky to the moment that it exploded was literally seconds.
right,
So, in an event like that, right? Who can really prepare for anything like that?
right.
And you know, I would hate for because that's one of the things I fear the most is a huge rock dropping out. That is just my total fear, and I really hope that I never have to see anything like that in my life. I have dreams of that scenario
Uh,
myself, but you know, and here's the thing: maybe if we and to kind of go against that, maybe if we are able to get this pushed across the line, then maybe we can be in a world where we can at least develop things that defend planets. Hopefully, they've been using black budget money for that already. I would hope that they have already developed systems that defend the planet. Who's to know what they're really spending it on? But yeah, that's a scenario where yeah, we're gonna have to be able to defend the planet, and I would rather them be spending black budget money on those sorts of things.
yeah,
But we can't trust them to do it, and that's kind of where we end up at the end of the day, which is why we can't trust the government for disclosure. We can't trust them to do a lot of things as they've proven, not just our government, but governments across the globe,
right, yeah,
and
yeah,
which is why we have to make sure that we get this disclosure. This has to happen. Like
yeah.
this isn't. There is no other way, but getting disclosure and getting to the other side. There is no other way.
I agree. I do agree with that.
So, with that being said, Lala, we're getting right here to the last few minutes. I definitely want to make sure that everybody knows where to find you and kind of just tell us what you got going on. We got a few minutes here.
Okay, real quick, if you wouldn't mind,
Yeah.
could you send me a picture of that shadow person? Because I'd like to read the photo for you, if that's okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
No. Yeah, I can do that right after the show.
okay. Um, so I'm Lala Bright on Facebook, on X, I'm Lala Bright 59. If you'd like a reading, it's lalabrightllc.com. And if you just want to talk or share an experience, I'm a good listener. So just I'm on Facebook more often than X, so you can just reach out and say hi.
Definitely, definitely. And I guess I could ask you this. What is your hope for we're in 2024. What is your hope for this year, for the remainder of this year? I think we have some momentum potentially with Jason Sands here coming talking about having face to face interactions with ETs. Maybe that gets the thing rolling for the year. What do you hope to have transpire by the end of this year going towards disclosure?
Oh, I'd like, since it's so public now, I'd like for people to be more open to it, um, and try to hear out people, listen to their experiences, baby steps, because I think that would help with disclosure. The more people that listen and go, okay, maybe this is real, or maybe I shouldn't be scared of it, then that's when I think disclosure will really happen, when we're all on board. There's a lot of people that go against it for whatever reason. So I would like people to just be more open, listen, and that might lead to something positive by the end of the year.
Agreed, and you're absolutely right. I'll add to that because yeah, everything you said plus yeah, um, I would just hope that anyone who gets engaged in these conversations, you see, there isn't leaning any too far one way or the other. If you're a skeptic, if you're a non-skeptic, just at least go into the conversation with an open mind and just be open to the possibilities. Because I'll say this once again, we know that we're sitting in space, which we consider to be infinite, which is silly to even think about. Something that doesn't end doesn't even make sense, right?
Hmm.
But that's the theory by scientists. We're sitting on a rock that is traveling through space at thousands of miles an hour. We're spinning around the moon, sun. We have a moon. Come on, I mean, with all that going on, you can say without doubt, we don't understand what's going on. One
But
other thing on this planet Earth, 70% water, 30% land, 95% of the water is unexplored, 10% of land. The overall total of this planet that we walk on and live on every day is like 65% of this planet we don't know what's going on. So if we don't know what's going on here, we don't know what's going on out there. We probably don't know what's going on in general. So kind of temper your expectations and just approach this thing with an open mind.
I agree. I
right.
agree 100%.
And with that, Lala, it has been a pleasure talking to you this first time, and I hope we definitely do this more often. And maybe I can get you and Science Bob on together, and then we can go into some things. That would be awesome. Science Bob, if you're out there, we got to set that up. And outside of that, yeah, Lala, you have a great rest of your day. It's been a pleasure. You take care. And for everyone else out there, we are going to go ahead and take pause for the cause as we get ready to jump into our last break of the night right here at Spaced Out Radio. Kick back, relax. We'll be back in 5 minutes. All right, Lala, you take care.
Okay.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Spaced Out Radio after hour number 3 with me, your host, Mr. Rob G. As we get ready to jump into the final hour here, we will be joined momentarily by our paranormal reporter, Travis Mustus. So it should get really interesting. Definitely want to thank Lala Bright for coming on in tonight. Totally was awesome. And also to all the space travelers out there, you're already a space traveler, right? We're on this rock traveling through space. You're technically a space traveler. Let's consider doing the next step, taking the next step, and joining the club. That's right, you can join our SOR Space Travelers Club for as little as $5 per month by joining our Patreon. Totally appreciate you. And for any new viewers out there, totally appreciate you guys coming on in and sharing the experience with us here on this Sunday night after hours. We would love it to see you guys come back for future shows. So please consider hitting that subscribe button and notification bell so you know next time we go live. Like I say, we have a show here 7 days a week here at Spaced Out Radio. So there's always something going on here, and I think you'd enjoy it. So definitely consider doing that. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and get into this hour number 3 and go ahead and bring in our guy, the paranormal reporter, the guy with all the best energy in the world. And I think he might even have some treats for us here tonight. Let's go ahead and bring in Travis Mustus. Travis Mustus, how are you, sir? I think you're muted there.
Woo! Hey, thanks for having me back.
No problem at all. Thanks for coming on in. Let me take a sip of my beverage.
Yeah. I was just having a little chuckle there at you brought along some gifts.
Brought along some gifts. Brought along receipts, right? 2024 is the year of receipts. Please, guys, if you have receipts, bring them to the table. Skeptics want to see proof, and I understand that. And let's try, when we can and when we're in the position to do so, let's try to bring those receipts to the public, right? So what's going on, Travis, man? How you been? What's been going on? Mr. Let's call it, I'm going to start bringing you in the author, the paranormal author, Travis Mustus. And I know you have the new book out. Go ahead and talk about the new book real quick before we go ahead and jump into this here.
Yeah, just the Mars Bug Wars, the Forgotten Ones. There it is, folks, in the back form. It's been great. Like I said, I've been really enjoying writing the series. It's been it's been just excellent. In I should say in terms of creativity and just like from one thing to another. Now I have I have hats that go with it, and I have a bunch of stuff that are just coming along with it, right? But at the end of the day, I've been just busy with just life in general, man. Living, existing, and seeing all the the different kind of occurrences that are going on just in natural form and natural place, right? So
Yeah, Travis. I don't know if you're aware. We had the story break during yesterday's after hours with Jason Sands, the newest whistleblower, UFO whistleblower, who decided to go ahead and come on out and break his story on Twitter Spaces. We covered it yesterday. We aired it. And he's talking about some stuff, man, where he has had firsthand interactions with extraterrestrial. And, hey, first time somebody says something like that, okay, let's look into it. But there's been stories lately, and I pointed out like Tim Gallaudet, who came out the end of 2023 and essentially said the same thing, just kind of came out and said, hey, it's true. The government has been in contact with ETs, which for me, that statement initially was mind-blowing. And then it kind of, now that we have Jason Sands come out and talk about his experience, it kind of shores that up. But not only that, you have to now think about Las Vegas ET, Miami Mall ET, Peru ET, right? Where these personal physical interactions have happened. Do you have any opinion on this, man? What do you think about all this?
Uh, some of the stuff I've been hearing lately has been just like clarifying a lot of the stuff that I've mentioned on previous shows on Spaced Out Radio and whatnot, and things that I've already, I've kind of, kind of stumbled upon myself in sense of like, that, I should say that.
Looks like Travis froze there.
Yeah,
Okay,
a lot of
he's
clarification. That's what honestly what I'm like. I'm kind of happy about it, and I enjoy when when the whistleblowers come out and they start to say some of these awesome stuff, and like I said, clarify a lot of the things that I've been saying myself out there.
And here's the thing, right? Not only that, let's go back. We have Ariel School, we have Westall School, two sightings where children saw beings, saw craft land, saw things come out of the craft. We have Lonnie Zamora, who saw beings outside of a craft, get in the craft. So we're already, when you start to now look, well, and within ufology have already known all these things. But for those on the outside who are looking, they should now be able to look at this and say, okay, the evidence is piling up. So, okay, let's explain some of this stuff. And we can't just, those hard skeptics are just going to bring up, things that really don't make sense as explanations, right? When we have so many other eyewitnesses. With that being said, I think it's been a shame, but I still think it's a shame that the government disclosure doesn't include experiencers. But I think that Jason Sands, if everything that he has brought to the table is true, it just shows that it likely is going to come through the experiencer, which is the way I prefer it, and which is the way I predict that it's going to come. I don't know. What do you think about that?
It's definitely a part of the process, until until it just starts to go on a little further, and then we start to have more of these more artifacts and things start to show themselves, and we start to find some other like traces and things that are outside of our planet, and yeah, that's all part of it, right?
For sure. Now I know you've had some wild sightings out there, right? And you've brought receipts here before. We've shown a lot of the stuff that you've brought, and it's always been amazing. I know you sent me some stuff as well, and I am going to try to cue that up real quick here. As anyone who doesn't know, Travis is up in Canada, and the wide open skies out there, and he's catching amazing things out there. No special equipment needed, just your normal camera, and he is catching things that I think you probably could say are things that for surely are not man-made and are anomalous, right? So here's the thing, right? We have to pull the blinders off for a lot of people, man, because I think really for most people, skeptic or not, I think if you look up long enough, you're going to end up catching something. What do you think about that comment, Travis?
Yeah, it's definitely you take time, to like throughout the week, and you check it out throughout the month, and some nights you don't see much, but you'll still get spectacular like events, like I should say astronomical events, like you get to witness, and just like meteors and all sorts of kind of interesting space anomalies and activities, right? So what I'm getting at is yeah, it does take time, and then but eventually you start to notice the oddities of it, and how they tend to make themselves known, or they'll do a little flash, and when they're going by, and like light up and flare up, and then continue to go back down into their regular straight pace, and just like like they're just flying along, and it's pretty cool. Like so like when I can, and it's nice and clear, and if it's low enough, I'll be able to get it on camera, and or make get a nice video of it. I'll try to make myself like steady enough for the camera to get like I should say a stable stabilization in there so we can see clearly. But at first it's a little like starts off a little blurry, but then you see I do stabilize and I do get it for the rest of the video. It flew from the north. I only noticed it as it was like kind of going above and over me, and then I was like, oh, and I pulled out my camera, right, like because like I was looking directly east and kind of like over the horizon and checking out some of the like Andromeda system there and a few other like the stars and galaxies out in that direction, and then all of a sudden I noticed it above and I was like, hey, there it is. And then I followed it and started heading south. And so this is where the video picks up. You can see in the very bottom left, there is the large moon. So the moon is out. You can see it. And then there's the large antenna tower that's nearby the area there. That's the red light in the sky. But you'll see me, I'll zoom in, and you can literally see the star that it passes beside and continues along. So it's pretty cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's take a look. And actually, and Travis, don't worry about it, but the audio is a little choppy, but it's coming in and out, but you're okay. We'll just have to fix that in the future, but I think you'll be fine for now. Let me go ahead and start this video, and I know we have some of those previous ones that you sent in, so maybe the viewers could see some of those as well. So this is Travis Mustus's latest sighting, right? So we're not talking about fake sightings. We're not talking about CGI. We're not talking about edited video. We're talking about this is what he is capturing on camera that is in the sky. Now, what it is up to you for you to consider or for you to determine what it is. So let's take a look. Let me go ahead and hit play on this. And here we go.
All right, so we have unknown object flying across the sky right now. As you can see, it just flew past that star. And it's just moving down along. Don't mind the vehicle passing by on the road.
Right there.
There we go. Trying to hold it steady as I can, but you can see it clearly heading south. And there it goes past the tower there. Nice little orb. Oh, kind of stop there for a moment. Oh, it's gonna keep going. Alrighty. Well, that was wonderful, folks. That was April 20th, 2024. And it's currently 10:22. Yes, excellent. All right,
that is awesome. That is awesome, Travis. That is awesome as heck. Let me go ahead and play that again for anyone who might have missed it. I'm going to try to point at it with the pointer so you can see what it is we're looking at.
We have.
I know it's kind of small on the screen. It's right there.
As you can see, it just flew past that star. And it's just moving down along. Don't mind the vehicle passing by on the road. There we go. Trying to hold it steady as I can, but you can see it clearly heading south. And there it goes past the tower there. Nice little orb. Oh, kind of stop there for a moment. Oh, it's gonna keep going. Alrighty. Well, that was wonderful, folks. That was April 20th, 2024. And it's currently 10:22. Yes, excellent. All right.
So that is awesome, Travis. If you want to come in and talk about that, I guess explain to us what did it look at like with the naked eye?
All right. So at first it was like it's like it was flying like right over, like just this. At first I thought it was and I didn't understand, like I wasn't too sure, but it just was the bright like looking star at first, and then I looked up and I noticed it was moving, and I'm like, oh, hey, and then and it was moving a lot faster than the average satellite would move, and just kind of like I was progressing along, and then I noticed that there was this activity going on, because shortly after that, I tried to capture another one, but it was because like I said, they light up, right? And sometimes they'll flash and they'll keep going on. But this one, like I said, it was just heading south, but I noticed it last second because it was like right above me, and I was looking kind of to the east, and because I was like I said, I was expecting something over maybe that way, or you know what I mean, like kind of like, just like looking around. But yeah, it was here, it was right above me.
Yeah, that is wild, and obviously with the video, in the video I took as well, you don't get the same perspective as you get with the naked eye. However, I do know that you have there's other videos that you've sent us where the objects were a lot closer. So what I'll do, and it's in this history here. So let me go ahead and go back to one of these previous ones that you sent over here. I think this is the one here. Let me see. Is this it? Okay, let me ask you this, Travis, before I play the audio on that. Is it okay to play the audio on that one? I don't recall.
I don't think so. I think that's the one I sent you to clarify the other one that I had captured. Like this one was flying over Canada. So I do believe this is a separate video that was caught by some other people in Saskatchewan or Ontario, I do believe, one of the two places.
Okay.
And then I just cross-referenced it with the one I got. The one I got was kind of like it was a much shorter video, and I didn't have any driving along in it. Oh yeah, that's definitely one. That's it. That's the one.
Okay, are we okay with audio on this?
Yeah, there's no.
Okay, let me go ahead and take that back. So this is same place you caught this other item, right? This other
This
object.
is the same like relatively the same area, probably a few miles away. But this one was in January. I do believe like 28th or somewhere close to the end of the month of this year. But I was just like walking up, and I just noticed this bright object in the sky, and it was very low, like and it was like flying by, and yeah, so you can check it out. Let's hit it there.
let's run it.
All right, January 23rd, 2024. We got low flying unidentified object flying across or above the moon right now. As you can see, it is moving pretty fast.
Yeah, and you can see that it's like pulsing this light.
What is that?
Like has this like burning like energy going.
The Galactic Federation of Light Worlds.
And for reference, is that object, right? Yes. Look at that.
And that's all the vehicles you can hear on the highway going by, and that object just moving silent. It was like, yeah, it was beautiful. It had that energy too. Like you could just feel
It's
it.
going by. It was flying from the north, now heading south. Just passing by, passers in the night. How lovely. Yeah, getting kind of in the distance now. Oh, I just had another one flash above. Ha ha ha! I didn't get that one on the camera though.
Yeah, and strangely enough, that's usually what happens. Like there's some other ones that are flashing around in the area, or, you know what I mean? Like when it goes by, or like if there's one that's really noticeable, there will be others that flash, or kind of like thicker going by and stuff.
getting dimmer now.
And I'll say, there are plenty of sightings with the orbs where there's the multicolored aspect to them, where it's almost like a carousel of colors that it actually goes through, and you see that often, and so you know that's definitely something anomalous and not
Moving.
something like a prosaic object like a helicopter, a drone, or anything of that nature. Let me go ahead and I think we probably put it on full screen. I'm gonna take it back.
And it's gone, folks. All right, January 23rd,
Let me full
2024.
screen this.
We got object, low flying, unidentified object flying across or above the moon right now. As you can see, it's moving pretty fast.
This object. Now let's watch when it gets. You'll see it flickering different colors.
What X one is that? Galactic.
But the government will sit up and say that these things aren't up there. I don't know if I can pause it on the when you zoom in here. Okay, just look at that.
It is going by. It was flying from the north, now heading south. Just passing by, passers in the night. How lovely. Yeah, getting kind of in the distance now. Oh, I just had another one flash above. Ha ha! I didn't get that one on the camera though. Yeah, it's getting dimmer now. Moving.
You can barely see it, but it's there, still there.
And it's gone, folks.
Yeah, so once again, Travis, that is just amazing. That is amazing footage captured there. And I just have to, and let me actually field this question real quick. Browndorf wants to know exactly what it was you were using to record that, Travis.
Yeah, that one, those two captures, I was using my phone. I don't. The make of it is like it's something
It's like Travis may be frozen. Hopefully, he'll be right back
Wow.
here.
Oh, I thought I was working good, but yeah. Anyway, hopefully I'm back. Am I back?
Yeah, you're back now. We didn't catch anything you said, so go ahead.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, yeah. I use the camera on my phone. I used for a couple of these because that's all I had on me at the time. And like I said, it has like 100 times zoom. The phone I have, so it works really well for the night shots and I should say the video capture. But yeah, no, it's pretty. Yeah, it's great for that. I've used other digital cameras and such like, but I've tried to get other infrared cameras and like if there was one I would use, I'd try to use that.
Okay, definitely. Yeah, so I just want to kind of talk about that, right, guys? So we have. Can we start putting? Let's start using the logic. Let's start putting things together, right? So let's do this. So I think that there is, even with the footage that was dropped by Corbell a few years ago, just even though radar image, even though the jellyfish UAP, these were all taken through some sort of government lens or filter, night vision in a lot of cases. Um, I think we have enough craft or enough evidence, let's say, to say that something is in the sky. So, regardless on what you want to define that as, if you want to define that as an orb, if you want to define that as a sphere, as some people would do as well, I think we can all at least agree that there's something strange in the sky. Okay, so moving on from that, it doesn't take on any of the appearances of any of the things that we would come to know as things that have been created by man, right? So, and I would say this. I think we could agree on that, and I would say until something man-made is brought to the table that is able to display those sorts of characteristics, then I think we could put those things in a bucket of, as of today, as of right now, that these aren't things that could be attributed to anything that had been built by a man until some evidence comes forward, which that could happen tomorrow. The government wants to come out and say, hey, we've been working on this thing and here it is. And then we're like, oh, wow, okay, that explains. So until that day comes, then I think at this very moment, we have things that we can consider being prosaic or anomalous things that are in the sky that we can't explain what they are, right? So let's take those in there so we can probably at least all agree on those things, anomalous things in the sky. So now we lean on other experiences or other experiencers. So now we go to things like um, Varginha, Brazil. We go to the aerial school like we talked about before, the Westall School. Situations where whatever these craft are, whatever these objects are, have been seen landing on the ground, right? So things that we seen in the sky have landed on the ground. We have reports of those things happening with various witnesses. And then on top of that, we have uh, we have in those same instances mass mass correlation to the things that come out of those craft, right? Which end up being as described. If you want to call them extraterrestrial, if you interdimensional, whatever you want to call them, we have reports of things coming out of those craft that are living beings that are not humans, right? So if we can get that far down the line, based on the evidence that we have, then it isn't too far off at that point to start looking at a story like a Jason Sands or David Grush and the things that they've come out with. I think we could kind of take the things that they've reported on and then apply that to the evidence that we already have to say that there are definitely things that we don't understand that are here that have not proven to be things that have anything to do with man. And I think regardless on what side of the conversation you're on, whether you believe or you don't believe, skeptic or non-skeptic, I think if you're open-minded, we can all agree that there's something fishy going on and that does not tie directly to human beings, right? So now that you have that, you can jump down the rabbit hole many different ways because there are other experiences and reports. Now you can get into potentially some of the abduction stories now that you've taken it that far, right? And then now you start to see, what this really is, right? This rabbit hole is a real rabbit hole, right? And you can kind of start to validate a lot of the stories that you hear from experiences out there. Because I think one of the things that gets lost in translation is the hard skeptic ability to just say explain these things off as something mundane. And I think once you have enough of the pieces linked together and you're using just logic, right, and plausibility, then I think you could probably say that there's more chance than not that people are catching these things on film every day and they aren't from here. I think we could get pretty close to that, right? Regardless what side of the conversation you're on, if you're being open-minded. Now, you have to be open-minded to even come to this, process. But the beautiful thing about it is it's a process we're all on together to figure out. But when we talk about evidence, it's there, right? And there's even more that we're just not showing or playing tonight. But if you were to jump into the rabbit hole and kind of look through and sift through some of the data, newfork.org, which is a National UFO Reporting Center.org, is a good place to look. And actually, maybe we'll look at that here in just a minute. What do you have to say about that, Travis, as I try to bring something up here?
Yeah, it's a very important time for it all. As we're talking about, yeah, they're definitely wanted. They're definitely from the universe. Universe is very vast. And many levels of reality that we still have, to explore and experience yet with, on a grand scale. But what else I was going to mention was, like some of the interesting crafts that I've seen over the years. That's one of them. So this one was flying in the sky. This is in the Northern Lights, by the way, because I was just taking pictures of the Northern Lights, and this star started flying by, and I was like, hey, I better capture that. So I started taking photos of it. And so I want to call this the Horseshoe craft. If you go to the next slide, I got a better photo of it, a little bit bigger. The next one. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, see, so now you can really see the structure of this and how it's shaped like a horseshoe. Very different, very far different than our human engineering, I would say. Far different and very interesting. The level of these beings and how they're flying by, and also too, they had a nearby another little drone or a little ship that was like following them. As you can see from the embroidered shot, you can see there's another object that's closely following beside it. Yes.
Oh,
So you can see, there it is. Wow. But we don't see that. The camera doesn't see it, but embroidery.
Yeah. Let me go back here.
Cool?
Yeah, you can see it though. It's faintly there, but you can definitely see that.
Okay, all right. Well, I didn't see it there, but yeah. So, when I was looking at it, I didn't see it when I was taking the pictures. Like I didn't notice that. All I could see was that big one flying by, and that's what I meant to say. So, like what it is it's just spectacular. Like I said, I want to be the guy that claimed that as the horseshoe craft. You know what I mean? And
yeah. And I'll tell you, and here's what we'll do, because I want everybody to, I don't know if a lot of people even know that there is a resource like this out there. Let me go ahead and bring us back up here. So I'm actually going to bring up a database here, which is almost an equivalent to a MUFON. It is a website where you're able to submit your sightings, and I recommend, truthfully, anyone, regardless on what you think it is, if you've taken a picture or recorded this, definitely submit your information. Catalog it for yourself, obviously, and for the community. But submit it to one of these reporting agencies like a MUFON or a New Fork. And let me just kind of show you. I'm going to share this tab. So is that up here? Let me see. Okay, yeah, here we go. So this is National UFO Reporting Center. And just to kind of get in here, so for instance, Travis had this horseshoe craft. So they have this thing broken down into categories. And we've shown this, I think, maybe a few weeks back, this website, but there's just so much data here that it is definitely something that you would, if you're interested in this or you want to kind of validate something that you may have seen, this is a place to go. And let me look in here.
Oh, that's enough of validation for me, that craft, seeing it. Like, I don't need their opinion on what it is.
Yeah, no. For you, for sure. But like for people out there who are, who may capture something, they may not be sure, or, it's just, I want you to see how, depending on what it is, and this is just on shapes. So these are all the different shapes and all the different numbers of reports for each type of shape. So, and just kind of looking here. So we'll just pick one. Let's see. Orbs are always, let's do. So we hear about cubes, right? Let's see a cube. Let's see if we have any cube reportings here. Good thing about this is they keep media, if you guys can see this. So there's media that they also attach to these reports. So a lot of times you'll be able to get something visual. So taking a look at this, let me see if we can get this here. New Fork sighting. This is March 4th of this year. And let me see. The description is characteristics, emitted other objects, aircraft nearby. It's a strange object observed while in flight. So this is taken from a plane, an aircraft. It says aircraft in flight over Minnesota observed strange object moving rapidly, and at one point part of it separates. You can hear on the radio that the other pilots are asking about it. New Fork, and we'll look at it and then we'll say what New Fork thinks it is.
That thing's moving. Yeah, it's moving fast. Oh, it split up. Oh, shit.
Okay, I remember this in the news.
Yeah, it just broke up.
Holy
That was
shit.
off. Back burn. Satellite banner. Delta 5037, Freeport. That was already done. Yesterday.
Okay, so looking at that, New Fork put a note on there. I guess after their investigation of that, they determined potentially that this is outgassing from a recently launched rocket. But just to give you an idea, so you put it up here, right? Hey, it gets vetted, okay? Sometimes it comes back as something explainable, which is a good thing, right? Because we don't want to just have these photos or videos and assume that there's something when evidence can show that it's something else. So to know one way or the other and to kind of take the cream off the top, kind of get the stuff that shouldn't be there out of the way. It's recommended that you definitely at least submit to some sort of agency that can kind of vet the information from you, but for you. But this just shows, this goes so deep. So that's a cubed UFO, supposedly. That's the category they put it under. Let me see. Cube shaped item, no visible propulsion means, followed shortly by 3 jets. Okay, there's no. Okay, 2 black cubes flew between clouds. So there's media for that. Let's see if we can see something here. All right, let me read this here. So this is September 18th, 2023. 2 black cubes flew between clouds. It says I went outside to see what was going on after a huge gust of wind hit my house. I almost got knocked over when I stepped outside. When I went outside, there was almost like a comet trail in the sky. The wind would die down and creep back up again. Watched the haze for about 5 to 10 minutes as it slowly moved southwest. After that, I decided to go back in the house. But before I got back in, I saw a super quick flash of light, almost like lightning, but way faster. In total, I saw 2 flashes. I decided to stay back outside since it startled me. I looked back up, and there was an opening in the clouds directly over my house. I saw 2 black cube objects with no lights visible fly from one cloud to another, moving south. From what I saw, both objects were gray and black and were in the shape of a cube. I have had UFO encounters before, such as objects in the sky, similar to tonight's. I have had one encounter with what I think is Bigfoot throughout my life. I've had multiple weird encounters with UFO undocumented creatures. I posted about this on Facebook, and multiple people in Montana and Utah have stated similar encounters. The encounter in Utah, which occurred roughly 1 hour ago, saw similar flashing lights. Him and his friend grabbed their phone to try to get video, photo, but were unsuccessful. Other people in Flathead County say they saw the same haze effect before I saw the UFO. I strongly think the haze is northern lights, although what strikes me as very weird, every time I've seen the northern lights, they have been towards the north, not to the west like tonight. This is time-lapse video. I did not see any other streaks of haze. So let's just see if there's anything. This is only... this is not depicting UFO. Okay, I mean, that seems to be typical northern lights. Okay, so that we won't look at that. However, what I do want to try to see is like a fireball or an orb, something along the lines that you recorded. Like if there's any flashing, 3 bright orange, let me see here. Flew in a large oval about 2 miles, size of a car, flying about 12,000 feet high. Let's see. All right, let's take a look at this one. This is close to me here in California. So this one is it's daytime sighting too, which is cool. As this initially we observed a balloon-like object floating in the sky that moved and converged with a second object. At March 5th, 2024, approximately 12:47 p.m., my wife was scanning the sky for a nearby red hawk that was screeching. She noticed a shiny object near a cloud and brought it to our attention. My son and myself looked up in the direction, immediately observed the object. At first sight, it appeared to be stationary mylar balloon. It was glinting in the sunlight every so often. It was odd to see a balloon that high in the sky, not drifting in any direction. We continued to observe the object as it began to move slowly toward the northeast, at which time we observed a second object. The second object was coming from the northeast, moving in a southwest direction. Both objects came together to an echelon form. Object number 1 was in the lower position. Object number 2 was in the higher position of the formation. They maintained this formation for less than a minute. Both objects glinted sunlight. The objects then diverged, with object 2 backtracking to the northeast and object 1 moving southeast. We eventually lost sight of both objects. Took many photos and videos, but oddly, many of those didn't capture the objects. I've attached the ones that did. So this is what they showed here, and it's kind of weird, right? Because just at first glance, and I have to watch the video, but this kind of looks like the fleet that of objects that I captured, and I'll know better once we watch this video here. Let's check it out. Okay, so not the longest video. It's too hard to say. It's really hard to say. It's hard to say. It's hard to say just off that video, unfortunately.
You know what's funny is I had a similar picture like that, but it was I just didn't want to even share it or show it because I was like, it could be birds, it could be an eagle up there, you know what I mean? Like I had my you know what I mean? I go through my little list of my checklist before I consider it anything, beyond or from beyond. But yeah, no, that's a fair point, right? Like that could be anything up there, right? Like that we just seen.
And here's in the flip side to that. So I'm glad you even said that there, because the way I feel about that is just like my sighting. When you just said that, because initially people thought the sighting I had was birds, but then I submitted it and balloons got debunked, and I think the point is that there are some things out there that may look mundane that you think is okay. That might just be a bird. You don't look at that again, but if you took the time to look at it again, then you would figure out, okay, no, it's not that. And we don't have time tonight, but my sighting, and you can go to my page over youtube.com/ at Mr. Rob G, as it shows in the upper right corner of the screen here. And you will see my UFO sighting video where I captured 47 objects in a formation in the middle of the day. These things glinted in the sun as well, did some anomalous stuff, all disappeared in one time. Clear blue sky, no clouds in the sky. All these objects disappeared. And the thing is that when I saw those, I wondered to myself, and I video recorded it, but I wondered to myself how many times people may have run across something like that they just wrote off as balloons or birds without taking a second look. And if you think about that, there's so many sightings that have just been dismissed or just ignored based on that. And you kind of just backed that up, Travis, saying exactly what you said, where you thought there was probably nothing to it. It's probably just birds. You didn't really pay attention to it. Do you still have that on film though?
I was taking a series of photos of the cloud because I thought the clouds looked just perfect, like the way the sun was shining through them, and just so I was taking a picture of this, just the way they lit up and just how beautifully golden they were, and then I noticed these black cubes, and they're flying in the clouds, right? Like there's a couple of them, 3 of them, and I'm like, well, like I said, it could be birds in the distance there, or it could be something else, an eagle or whatever, right? A pack of them or whatever flying by there. So but I still have the photo. Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Yeah, and so hopefully we could maybe even see that next week. And with that being said, I guess that'd be a good point to leave off with, is that regardless what you think it is, take the picture, take the video, and then figure it out later, right? So just, because I feel like we miss a lot of sightings that way, just assuming that it's something mundane or prosaic. And I think you should just always be ready to capture the sighting, because we know they're up there. We have so many, all this proof. Look at the Newport website, thousands and thousands of reports. That's just there. You're just not even talking about MUFON. Some of them overlap, obviously, but We're talking about thousands and thousands and thousands. Do you think the government is using these databases to kind of inform their decisions on our ET craft here? Do you think NASA has taken the time to jump into these databases? No, not at all. What they did was they actually did something smart for them, which was to, from the beginning, draw the line and say, experiencer sightings can't be validated. We need the hard data. We need multiple sensors. We need, so though by drawing that line, they immediately cut out thousands and thousands of experiencer sightings, which I think is silly and ridiculous. There's no way thousands and thousands of individuals could be mistaken on what it is that they saw. And I think if you flip through this database on your own time, you'll kind of find that to be the case. And I would implore skeptics alike, skeptics, non-skeptics alike, to maybe take some time and thumb through there, because maybe it opens your mind. Maybe you see the thing that you second guessed that you saw, and then it's like, wow, okay, someone else saw it. Okay, it is something that I should be concerned about. And that's kind of how we move this needle. So Travis, definitely thank you for coming in. Go ahead and promote that book one more time, man, because it's so awesome. Let them know where they can find it, and we'll get everybody out of here.
Yeah, so the Mars Bug Wars, check it out. Like I said, this is more of a sci-fi novel. It's an action-packed adventure that takes place in the near future. And I have two books out there. So the Mars Bug Wars and then the Mars Bug Wars, the Forgotten One. So check it out. And like I said, the idea is just it's a great sci-fi book that I enjoyed writing. Not so much on the paranormal side of things, but it's like I said, it was a very enjoyable experience, and I'm happy to share that with the world. And thank you all out there for tuning in and supporting Spacedoutradio Radio and supporting my books. And see you all next time. Thank you so much for the wonderful show there, Rob. And yes, you can find the books on Amazon, by the way.
Awesome stuff, Travis. Do appreciate you coming on in, man. You have a great rest of your night. Take care. I'm going to go ahead and wrap the show up here, and we will be talking soon, and see you next week.
Hello. I'm back.
All right, man. Take care.
Yes, take care. See you later.
Yes, sir. All right, guys. Awesome show tonight. Bravo. Applause to everyone involved. Lala Bright, great guest. Thank you so much for coming in. It was awesome. Definitely thank everyone who showed up tonight and participated in just furthering the conversation, right? This is what it's about. There's going to be stories that don't have evidence. There's going to be stories that don't have proof, sightings, the like. There are going to be sightings that do have proof, right? Nothing should be discounted. Let's start there. But I would just implore some people who are on the skeptic side to maybe just take the time to sit with an open mind, maybe thumb through that website we just looked at, and try to grasp how often these things are being reported. You see the dates on there. I mean, these are up until pretty much current date with the things that people are saying that they saw. So I think in order for us to make that move, we need to consider doing that. And that's what I'll say. So let me go ahead and put something out here in the chat as well, because we have the, I think we're going to do a call-in show after this over at my channel on the Social Dig. And here's some of the experiencer stories. Hear what you guys have to say about some of the things that have happened lately. I mean, I've been talking for the last 2 days, right, for about 10 hours. So hopefully we get some people come on stage here and kind of take it off of your boy. But give me just a second here and let me bring that up for you. I want to drop this in the chat for anyone who may want to show up for that. And let's see, here we go. Let me share that. Otherwise, it's been an awesome show. All right, So there it is. And yeah, so you guys can click that link, come on over there and have some fun. Come on stage, talk your talk. Let us know what you've been going through. Let me go ahead and drop the Spaced Out Radio commercial for swag here, because we don't have ugly swag. Want to make sure everybody knows that. Let's go ahead and run that, and then we'll get ready to get out of here.
Hey everyone, guess what? We do not have ugly swag. We have Spaced Out Radio gear that you're going to want to wear. Why? Because no one wants to wear ugly clothing. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com and go shopping today. You'll be glad you did. And it's a great way to support our show. Once you get your gear, send us a picture of you rocking out in your SOR swag. spacedoutradio.com, shop there today, and make yourself look good.
All right, and not only that, we have the Reno trip coming up in 3 weeks. Can't believe it, less than 3 weeks now. Can't believe it is so close. I know some of you can't be there, and so as long as you're there to watch the show, then we appreciate that. But anyone who might be last minute, let me go ahead and run the commercial for you. We're doing this in Reno a couple weeks out. Maybe you're in the general area and you can make it, but this is what we're looking at.
If you love your woo, it's time to make a commitment to the 3rd annual SOR Fan Party. This time, we're heading to Reno, Nevada, and the Silver Legacy Casino and Resort, May 10th through 12th, 2024. Tickets are $60 or $100 for VIP. With that, you get a free radio show. You get to hang out with celebrity guests from Spaced Out Radio, including our team, who are coming to hang out with you. You get to meet the entire team, like Science Bob, Merle, Melinda Leslie, Geraldine Orozco, and more. It's a weekend packed with adventure, and we want you there. After all, we're doing this for you. Find out more and get your tickets at info@spacedoutradio.com and book your hotels today at the Silver Legacy Casino and Resort in Reno, Nevada. Come join us for the SOR Fan Party, May 10th through 12th, 2024.
All right, so we hope to see you there. We definitely hope to see you there. If not, we totally understand. But with that being said, I want to go ahead and thank the awesome super chatters for the night. That would be Aloha Dave and then Deb from Sacramento. Thank you so much for your love and support of Spaced Out Radio. And once again, space travelers, think about taking the next step and joining the club. You can join the SOR Space Travelers Club for as little as $5 per month by joining our Patreon. Outside of that, definitely want to thank all our viewers and listeners tonight all across the globe. Thanks for tuning your frequency to Spaced Out Radio, where we do what we do best. And what is that, you ask? Guys, we own the night. Thanks for coming in. See you guys next week where we'll do it all again. Make sure you're here tomorrow for Dave Scott, 9 p.m., only on Spaced Out Radio. You guys all take care.